Hey, what the hell? Why you hanging on the rooftop by yourself? I have an open invitation, but you're telling me go get lost. I don't wanna see your face. Yeah, what the hell? So why don't we stay out till the morning light? Cause two wrongs can make a right. We're just doing what we feeling right now. Some Chardonnay, we camp in the parking lot. Leave traces of plastic cups. We're just doing what we feeling right now. So what the hell? Why you hanging on the rooftop by yourself?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Frosty Sports and our weekly Rocket League tournament. It's the 90th edition of our Blizzard. It's a special one here as we approach the 100th edition, but another good tournament, a bunch of another good teams here. My name is Llama77, joined at the cast with, it is the one and only, it is Mr. Q. How you doing today?
Yo, what it do? What it do? I'm excited to get down into it, kicking off the week with some more banging Rocket League matchups like you talked about. And man, as much as we just jumped in and went live, our team's already getting ready to get on down into it here, Llama. So let's get down to it.
Yeah, we're starting here in the winners semifinal between two really amazing teams, and it's going to be a best of three. So we're starting off good. Team effects and looking for team part two.
Seeing as far as off the rip, looking for team part two was quickly pushing up over into the offensive zone. Probably going to be seeing these teams reading each other a little bit, but obviously with it being a best of three, Llama, you and I talk about it often, right? You don't get much time to try and read, and we see a nice shot here from Christian. A little bit off of, I think, a hood of a player from looking for the team, but not enough to be able to deflect it away from the goal, and that's a quick one.
Yeah, like you were mentioning, though, yeah, this best of three, very, very volatile. You get a win early, you're already on that series point. You get a goal early, 25 seconds in, that's going to feel really good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get one like that there early, especially it seems like off of a little bit of a broken play, if we're being honest, but it doesn't always need to be pretty, right? Sometimes it's just about being able to take advantage of those situations where things aren't necessarily going the right way. We see Antics going to be passing things up to Christian's got a wide open net, and that's going to be a second goal here within the first 50 seconds. Oh, first 45 seconds here of play.
Yeah. This is huge from Team Effects. Another beautiful shot here from Christian to add a second to the goal total for themselves and add a second to the board for Team Effects. A massive, nice lead. The good thing is, though, for looking for Team Part 2, these goals did come early. So you still have some time on the board. You still have some time to respond. So let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you mentioned the time being plenty full on the clock right now, but you feel like you would like to at least get a first little bit of a response, even if it's not necessarily on the scoreboard, but a little bit of resistance, because right now it just seems like Effects kind of getting to put their style on over in the offensive zone. Looks like maybe potentially trying to come up with a counterattack here, but Christian's going to send that thing to the corner, not really allow much progress, but maybe Jerry coming in. Oh, that would have been beautiful.
And that would have been beautiful. And, we mentioned we have our favorites here. We have, who's thinking of doing good? Ramen is definitely doing good. Another added to the total. A minute 30 in. The lead is 3.
They are just rolling them up right now, just running it up. 3 goals here right off rip. And a best of 3 to be able to start with that sort of momentum, huge.
That's absolutely huge, but maybe you guys in chat see something a little bit different than we do. Make sure you predict who you think is gonna win this matchup. Bet your Frosty Bucks and see who can win the most here. But yeah, Team Effects, a really good start to this game. Another good shot as well. Their offense already popping off.
Yeah, but what's interesting as we see even a 4th goal here, and that's going to be the hat trick actually from Christian. I was going to say, not really like it's a lack of shots on the side of looking for team comparatively, but I mean, Effects, every shot just finding the back of the net.
We go. Team Effects a 4-goal lead here, just 2 minutes into this game. Off of kickoff, though, this is a really nice touch. Unfortunately, no one there to follow it up. The offense rotating in very slowly means that Team Effects will be able to clear it out and towards the other way. This is the most important thing. Get yourself some sort of spark here for looking for Team Part 2. Get yourself some sort of offense that you can work off of.
Oh, and Antics getting filthy with it. Now it's going to be everyone now on the side of Effects with a goal for their name, and that's just allowing the team to really kind of get revved up and rolling. Now, obviously, keep in mind, even though this is the first time we're seeing them on the stream, they've been rolling here for a bit, and they really seem to be locked in at this point, Llama.
Yeah, locked in, ready to go. Still 3 minutes left, so some time, but definitely a mountainous lead already there for Team Effects. We'll see what the offense from Looking for Team Part 2 can do, as it looks like it'll be ALS going in, but Sue will find the backup touch. Their first goal's on the board.
Yeah, able to get themselves the first one, and sometimes that's all it takes, right? Just the first one to tell yourself, hey, we do know how to be able to take the lid off of this thing a little bit here, and there's still plenty of time to, even if you don't necessarily bring it back here, give yourself a little, let's just say, let the scoreboard be 0-0 at this point. Let's go out here and win this second half. That way, when game number 2 does roll along, we know we've got the recipe for success.
Yeah, if you can adapt mid-game, that is such a huge trait you need to have, especially in this best of 3. But Team Effects, their offense is not going to stop. Now, they are going to try and add to the board. A nice defensive touch will be sensing and clearing this one, but met right at midfield. That's the great part about Team Effects. They're playing this really high line. That means if they get a single touch, it's punishing. But if their rotations are not on point, the team setup can be read perfectly. ALS going to try and put it in. Will be denied once again.
You love to see the defense starting to stand tall. Well, I shouldn't say starting to stand tall. It's been standing tall throughout this entirety, but looking for a team trying to put up some, a little bit of an attack here, and another save coming across right at the post here from Looking for Team Part 2.
Another good attack. You'll love to see it here. They're going to try and continue on out. About 1:40 left on the clock here between these two teams battling it out. And it's been a good game, number 1. 6 goals in total already. I know this series is going to be exciting, but I want more in this game. Ramen going to try and add to it with the aerial plays. Almost intercepted there, but now might hit a follow-up. The touch is absolutely dirty, but one player back will save it.
Oh, I thought maybe if Jerry wouldn't have gotten so far ahead of that there, might have still been able to keep it alive, but unfortunately, obviously, also with the demo, we're having plenty of people who ends up basically just being right ahead of them, but they keep this offensive drive secured, tap off that back wall, but it is Antics who's going to be able to come over and disrupt the attack and double commit there, not really able to get much progress going. Jerry gets a second touch, but it is Ramen who should be able to get the clear. Antics actually passes it up to Christian. I thought that was going to be a shot on the goal, but regardless, at this point, playing keep away.
Yeah, keep away for now, but just 45 seconds left on the clock. Probably not enough time to score 4 goals in a row here for Looking for Team, but like you said, get something going, flying out there. Unfortunately, Alsig won't be able to find that goal. We'll try and get back on the defense. The rotations are looking clean, and if you can solidify your defense going to the next game, that's going to feel real good.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the positive at this point, right? Yeah, you haven't necessarily been able to find much on the offensive side other than what it looks like at this point, Llama. Might have just been a lucky goal on the side for Looking for Team Part 2, but what you have been able to do has been able to really put the locks down onto defense. This last 3 minutes, I think they've only allowed 1 goal compared to obviously the first 2, so something to build on for game 2.
100%. Well, 0's on the clock here for this first game. You talked about how important it was. One final touch. Alsig will add 1 more to the total. This is a nice touch off the wheels.
Yeah, that's a nice little last second goal here. Be able to get just enough redirect so Ramen not going to be able to get the save. And although, of course, at the end of the day, it is still going to be FX winning by quite a margin there. But you mentioned it feels good to get that last one in there across the line. And now you just got to hope that, with the scores getting reset back to 0, you can do all right coming out the word go,
Yeah, and in that back half of the game, you mentioned it, they looked really strong. Their defense stepping up, their offense stepping up, letting no more goals in, getting 2 for yourself. And that first game is really important. Team Effects, they're gonna be on series point. That feels good, but this second game is even more important for Looking for Team. It's either win or you're going to the lower bracket. But for Team Effects, you'd really like to win here. Going to a game 3 off a loss doesn't feel great. And if Looking for Team can bring some momentum, if they showed us what they showed us in the back half of that last game, I think it's already over.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Looking for Team is if you can come out here and just the first 2 minutes, it doesn't matter if you get points on the board, you just can't allow too many across the line, right? Because we saw once they really kind of, who maybe they thought it was a little bit of nerves because they knew they were on broadcast. You never know, right? But once they kind of got the things broken down, their defense was able to put them on lockdown. So
Yeah, it really, really was. Going into game number 2, we'll see if they can change those things up, like you said, get some of that early pressure, some of that early offense to try and change it, and some of the demos we saw as well from the other side.
True.
So that's maybe something that Team Effects could be like, okay, you want to get your offense going? Well, we got demos, we got more tools in our toolkit to respond. They got to show us, though, here in game number 2.
And here it goes. We got 5 minutes. If you are looking for team here to try and prove a point for effects, you just want to be able to come out and do exactly what you did in the first half of game number 1, really being able to seize control of that momentum. But right off the word go, we're seeing that tussle back and forth. Nice shot on the goal technically, but I mean, it was an easy save coming in, but now making another attempt at the net and another save coming in from effects.
That is absolutely beautiful, but I mean, the offense of Looking for Team once again stepping up so many opportunities early. Like you said, unfortunately, none of them hit the back of the net, but some good pressure. If they can keep this up, they could get something going, but of course, Antics will try and carry it out of the zone. Those rotations mean the boost will be back, but the goal will be not. Jerry with the first goal.
Hey, able to find the back of the net early here on the side of Looking for a Team, and a beautiful shot, putting it just high enough where Ramen can't get to it. And, you know, the pace that they've been playing here, Llama, thus far in game 2, they've really been able to seize that control. And now that you've got the lead, I don't want to say you've got to play with comfort, but if you can continue to maintain that control, you mentioned it, momentum going into game 3 would be huge.
Momentum is huge here. Confidence as well. That feels really good after, like you said, the team that just racked up 5 goals on you is now down 1-0. That feels so great. Their kickoffs are looking clean. Their offense is looking good, albeit there aren't as many goals here in the first minute. It's still some good action.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing you're noticing, right, is on the side of effects, they just haven't really been able to get the big counters or big clears. And of course, naturally, as I'm talking about it, Christian from distance going to be able to get just enough of the inside of that left post to send that thing in for a goal. But I mean, there hasn't really been much time spent over on the opposite side of the pitch, right? It really has been Looking for a Team that's had control these first 90 seconds.
Yeah, 100%. But like you said, if you can get a little bit overconfident, then, you know, they can meet you at that high line. Jerry almost with another there, bumping the player, taking a shot to that right post. But yeah, at this point, you know, if you play that high line, yes, it can be putting a lot of pressure on that opposing defense. But if you don't capitalize off it, if they intercept one pass, you just saw right there, they can score off of it.
Yeah, we have noticed that with Looking for a Team playing a little bit more aggressive, that although they're playing all right on their rotations, they're not getting all the way back because they're wanting to maintain that pressure in the offensive zone, and it will allow for those openings for effects, especially when you have a double commit that allows for a little bit of uncoordination in front of the goal. You get a little bit of a shot on goal, but nothing to any avail. And now look at this counterattack from Antics.
Has some good shots on both sides here. Loving to see it. And, you know, this is a much closer game. Very, very at a standstill right now. Like you said, Looking for Team had really a big amount of control in the first part of it, but the scoreboard doesn't lie. Effects with that goal are keeping it tied up. They're keeping it going. But now, though, the team of Looking for Team, they are trying to get that offense going in this zone. The rotations, looking to clean those up on the backside. Ramen, though, wants to take it all their own as they ping-pong back and forth in midfield.
Yeah, you know, Llama, I do got to be honest, though. The one thing that I am very concerned about, if you're looking on the side of effects, is their defense, as good as it's been recently, at some point, does it break, right? You've had 7 shots on goal. There's going to be an 8th with a nice save from Antics, and even another nice little touch here as well. Shot comes in from Jerry, though, and that's what I was talking about. Eventually, they are going to find the back of the net.
Yeah, the needle is threaded here. 2 players. Jerry does not care there. And a beautiful goal. You know, we talked about how the scoreboard doesn't lie. Team Effects had found that goal to bounce back into this game. All of a sudden now, Looking for Team Part 2 back on the lead. Jerry wants to add another. The aerial play, the flip reset right to the goal will get denied.
Hits him with the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag. Nice little defensive stuff there at the net. But you'll notice here, Llama, Looking for a Team, they have not conceded back into the defensive zone. They're keeping that pressure up, and even just a couple of misdirects. Nice little pass off the back wall. thought Jerry was going to get a nice shot there, but even still, keeping their offensive push alive here, and I think that might be it. No, it doesn't hit. That's just a little bit too high.
Yeah, a little bit too high here. In this winter semifinal, still going strong. Team Effects, again, they do have the game advantage, but dropping this one would mean they would have to go to a game number 3. Another shot right off the backboard. Ramen having to play goalie here will actually hit a mistouch. So going the other way, their clears have to be important here for Team Effects. You only have about a minute. Yes, the goal deficit is only 1, but you've only scored once in this game.
Yeah, you've only scored once, and I'm pretty sure they've been sitting on 3 shots on goal for quite some time. There's going to be shot number 4 with a nice little save here as well. And with that clear, really alleviates the pressure off the defense. Now, a good offense makes a great defense. Of course, as I say that, Ramen turning defense into some offense.
Yeah, right now, the offensive focus for me is Jerry, who has 7 shots, both goals for looking for team. They can't find a way to shut them down. And with 30 seconds left, Effects, they need to find a way to clear this ball out. They need these 1 or 2 final touches, but it's going to be Sufi trying to run through the midfield, maybe trying to intercept that on the goal line. It's going the other way, though. Antics trying to set it with Ramen. It's off the post.
Whoa!
Another extra touch, and Christian will tie it up with just 12 seconds left.
Oh, and, you know, being able to get so much movement to be able to get the first save. Christian able to cut across enough to send that thing, I thought was going to be just a tad bit high, but instead the equalizer with 12 seconds left.
Overtime looks to be near in our future unless one of these teams can slam it home for the final goal of the match. But it's looking good. Yeah, Effects, they have had a response. Wrote those first goals. Almost finding another one there. 0's on the clock. Still danger for some buffoonery to happen. Speaking of buffoonery, they're playing in that upper side of this winner's semi. So we might see them a little bit later depending on how their match turns out. But right now, this match, it's hitting 0 and we're going to OTQ.
And, you know, once you go into overtime, 1 shot is all it takes. That's going to go just a tad bit wide. But, of course, there's going to be a little bit of panic at this point over on the side of LFT. They're going to be trying to get things under control. The ball gets sent back into their defensive zone. At this point, they've got rotations under control. You can see, though, they haven't been able to come up with the clear. And for now, Effects really keeping their drive alive.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you said that this does feel a little bit bad for team. It seemed like they had control for what, like 4 minutes, 3 minutes 30 of that, you know, regulation, and now they're in an overtime tied up where one single mistake could cost you the series. Off the post, up and out. Very close from Team Effects, but it's not going in.
Oh, it was so close, just sitting there on the doorstep, not going to be able to answer. Ramen gets enough with the demo to be able to create the space for the teammates there for Effects to be able to come and keep themselves in this attacking side. But Jerry has other things in mind, sends it the opposite way. Antics keeping things, at least for now, though, over on their side. They need to come up with a big clear. Looking for team, though. They need to rotate back. It's wide open.
Can't find the pass in midair. You speak about Jerry, 9 shots right now, 2 goals on the board already here. If anybody's going to do it from looking for team part 2, I would expect Jerry to be that player to step up, pick up the hat trick, and get that 10th shot on board. But we'll see after about a minute and 30 in overtime. It's off the crossbar. No!
It hit off the ground, then off the crossbar. It hurts the soul so much. We're at a minute and 45 seconds here now into overtime. Christian is going to get the first contest, but isn't going to be able to win the second. You can see Effects trying to lose a little, or trying to gain a little bit of ground, but not really being able to get anything going. They're conceding a little bit. Of course, as I say that, Ramen going the opposite way. Antics is going to get stuffed at the net.
Stuffed and toughed out. 2 minutes now in this overtime, racking up on the clock. Still tied up. That golden goal scenario still active. Both teams getting comfortable here in this overtime, but Jerry always threatening. Will get bumped out of the air. Christian recognizing that Jerry is going to try and make those aerial plays, putting a target on them, but now the target is on the other net. Can't quite get that, but these rotations are good and the offense persists from Effects.
Oh man, here and you can see they're keeping the things alive in the offensive zone as far as on the side of effects. They have retreated back at least temporarily, but Ramen gets a touch. Antix takes to the sky. If they would have been able to win that contest, it would have been huge. But now it's Jerry going the other way. It's a wide open net. They can get it past Ramen, but Ramen gets just enough, and they're going to be able to send it to the corner. Unfortunately, they don't get the clear, but it doesn't matter because it was just knocking on the doorstep, and they couldn't deliver.
Didn't deliver it just yet, but I have been delivered. The predictions from Twitch chat, they are on Team Effect's side, 68% in their favor. Looking for Team Part 2, still got 32%. A nice shot, though, from Ramen, trying to give some favor to the crowd. Could go either way at this point. 3 minutes of extra time on the clock. An extra half game of Rocket League right off the backboard. Double touch. It does go in. The third player can't find it, but it goes in. Jerry with the hat trick.
Jerry with the hat trick, as you had mentioned, able to come in when it mattered the most, able to just come and get just enough of it to be able to get the deliverance there in the back for looking for team. And man, what a clutch up there, 3.5 minutes into the game.
Jerry had a game. Jerry had a game there. I mean, 3 goals on the board, 11 shots racked up, double digits just themselves, almost had more shots than the entire opposing team. So a very, very good game. But, Effects were keeping it close. They got some bounce back goals here and there. They took it to overtime, went to 3 minutes. And unfortunately for them, it's going to be going to a game number 3. Momentum is going to be somewhat in looking for Team Part 2's favor. But, at the same point, if they can shut down Jerry, there's no real other offense, it seems like.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm Effects, I'm definitely trying to at least make sure I always know where Jerry's at, right? But I do also feel like when you look at Effects like stats in comparison to looking for team, it shows me that Effects is being a lot more efficient with their touches, right? They're keeping the things under control, whereas it felt like because looking for team was behind, they knew that their backs were against the wall. What led to a lot of shots was they knew that they needed to be able to create that hecticness. Can you keep that up for 2 games? That's the question, especially because you almost played a second game there in overtime, right? So,
yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see. Can they keep it up here? Going into game number 3 here, it's going to be a best of 1. There's no more chances for these teams. There is that lower bracket. If you do lose, you're not out. That double elimination is still active. But we'll see. Going into game number 3, who can take it?
All right, let's get down to business. It all comes down to this, and there's that player, Jerry, comes in with the first touch on the defense. Antix gets just enough of it to keep the ball over in the Effects offensive side, but if looking for team can do what they did quite a bit in game number 2, which is come in with those good counter attacks, and then be able to keep things in that Effects zone, that's when they had the most control.
Yeah, they really did, and it'll be the question of which Effects team we see. Will we see that Effects from game number 1 that dropped 5 goals in that first half of the game, or will we see, the Effects that played kind of slow in that game number 2? The question has to be answered by them. The good question is, though, there's no goals on the board so far yet. So the first goal is going to be huge momentum. We've talked about will play a big part in the series, and that first goal can provide you with a lot.
Yeah, now you just got to be able, I think the big thing too is being able to keep up on their defense, because we noticed, I don't think it's so much just the score, but can I keep it out of my zone for prolonged periods of time? Because I know if I go the opposite way, I can put it in the back of the net, but fortunately, if it's on my side, that's going to happen right there.
Yeah, and this is kind of scary for me if you are Team Effects, because we talk about, okay, put a target on Jerry, take Jerry out of the equation. That goal was 2 players that were not Jerry involved in it.
Now the rest of the team coming in clutch, doing what they need to do, right? But of course, plenty of time left. Nice play by Antix, getting filthy with it, going the opposite way.
Antix says, I'm just going to take this solo, okay? You need 2 players, get your goal. I'll take 1 player. Oh, that is a nasty flick on in. Wow.
Extremely filthy there, and it's now going to be tied at 1. But just like we were talking about before, plenty of time left now on either side. So I think you need to lock things in. I feel like in the past, normally if we've seen 2 goals that close this early, it was both into the same team's favor, and that was in game 1 for Effects. So if you're looking for team, you need to make sure your defense is locked in, even if you're keeping pressure up in this offensive zone.
I love Team Effects though. They have shown that they can score these goals. That even when they're down, they're not saying, "Okay, we're tilted, can't play the game no more." No,
Right.
they're stepping back up. They're saying, "We're still in this game. We're only down one." Finding those counterattack goals. I mean, they showed us last game that they can take it even to overtime. So we will see about 3 minutes left on the clock, like you talked about. A lot of time to work with for both these teams to get established.
As far as for now, though, looking for team doing a good job keeping kind of the hammer down. Even though they aren't being able to really get much progression towards the net, they have been able to make sure that it's still over in their offensive side, at least until now. But as I say that, it's going to be a shot on the goal. Christian finds the back of the net, and that's going to be Effects with the lead.
Yeah, and this just seems like game one Christian right here. Antics laying up a nice pass, and Christian just reads it well, wins the 1v1 and sets it in the back of the net. A nice goal, and now it is 2 unanswered for Team Effects back to back here. Half the game left though, still some time, Q.
Yeah, we do got to remember, though, when looking for team was at their best, it was when their back was against the wall in game number 1, right? They started playing with that relentlessness. They started playing a little bit more forward and aggressive, but then you have to worry about Effects being able to be come in with those big counterattacks, right? So you've got to make sure that if you're playing aggressive, you maintain the pace.
Yeah, and those streams of goals too, especially in game number 1, Team Effects could line those goals one after another, and the bleeding just did not stop, and it didn't matter how good you looked with your back against the wall. You were through the wall because they scored 5 goals in a row.
Now here, let's get sent back to their side, and there is a beautiful play. I thought that they had ran into each other, which was going to cause Ramen to not be able to get enough control of things there between Ramen and Christian, but still able to get just enough of it to send that thing in, and now the 1-goal lead has doubled down to a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, Ramen takes the friendly fire and still able to score that goal. So now, again, this is the dangerous part, racking up the goals one after another. A 2-goal lead now for Team Effects, and they're looking to add on even more with some extra aggression. Good rotational touches right now from Ramen to try and clear it out as well, but look at his passing. It's off of the crossbar. Can it be finished? No, not just yet. And a nice clearing shot will be sent right to the right wall here. So we'll see if Sawafi can, with the team, get active here in this final minute 30.
Yeah, I think it's all dependent on how you can use that glass crossbar. Is it a little bit of motivation because you just showed that you were right there, or is it because you're letting yourself get a little affected in the mental because you want that one back? Because now at this point, 75 seconds here, Llama, you gotta start playing with a sense of urgency.
Yeah, we're looking for a team. They are going for everything here. They're going for demos. They're going for bumps. They are trying to put the pressure on, but only a minute, 60 seconds left on the clock for them to try and fight for it. As a reminder, you know, this is the 3rd game. There are no more in this series. And look at that. The offense does connect. Alice, though, is trying to drop to the low ground. Won't find it. Read like a book from Team Effects. Again, looking for team. Miss a shot.
That is so tough. So many opportunities there. You would have wanted to at least capitalize on one, and now the ball has fully been cleared here. If you're looking for a team, there's 25 seconds. You need to make a push. It needs to happen now, because if we see Effects be able to come up with the clear, there's just not going to be enough time. And Llama, I think it's going to be Effects moving into the next round.
Yeah, no time, no space. It is single digits. The demos are coming out here, but even then, 5 seconds, the time has dwindled, and Effects has racked up enough goals in this game to take game number 3 once it hits the ground eventually. No, they want one more. Why not, Antics?
Just one more, just because, you know what, before everyone on the team was tied at 1, and Antics said, you know what, one more for me. That gives us a total of 4, and it is going to be Effects moving on here in their bracket run. That was really beautiful.
That was a really good game, and we've talked about it before, that going into that 3rd game, if you're coming off a loss, it's actually kind of really hard mentally, especially after you play like a 3-minute overtime where tensions are super high. You lose it by 1 goal, but they adapted really well in that game. Now they move to the winners final. They are going to be playing Oui Oui with the one and only Comp. So another dangerous team who's already had a good little wins in their bracket run already.
Yeah, actually looking through as far as Oui Oui, they've had some good runs here. It should be a really good matchup. I'm be excited to see as far as for them. I feel like, though, after a win like this, I feel like sometimes, when we cast these things, we get to the point where we get to the end and a team hasn't been tested, right? But in a case like this, in this case, you really got tested. It looked like things were starting to swing the opposite way. You pulled it back. You were able to maintain that control. Maybe that's what you need heading down the home stretch here.
And I'd imagine Oui Oui is probably watching these games as well. They're taking down their notes. They're saying, "Okay, we just gotta shut down their offense, stop the bleeding." And yeah, comps in chat, so they've definitely been watching, and I can't wait to see them.
And you know what? We'll be able to get down to our next games here, Llama Man. We're already off to a great start. If those are any indication of what the rest of our games are going to be looking like here, man, I am all for it. So make sure y'all grab yourselves a quick drink here, and we'll be back right after a quick break.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. I have come, it's cold and losing my control. Stop this conversation. Cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. No relation. We got no relation. No relation. It's crazy. And it goes like Stop this conversation.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Frosty Esports and our 90th edition of our Blizzard. A couple rounds already done, and we're moving on to the winners final. It is going to be a best of 5 series between two pretty amazing teams.
Yeah, and with the best of five, one does mean you get yourself a little bit of additional time if you can to maybe dissect the team, but also with the best of five, a little bit more pressure because you know that on the opposite side of the pitch, that level of play is going to be upped a little bit at this point, right?
Yeah, you can't just say you can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna one trick. We're gonna pull demos out this round, win one game, be like, okay, we won. No, you have to be consistent over the entirety of the series. Win 3, of course, to get yourself to the next round. Obviously, for both these teams, pretty amazing for them to make it this far because now you have 2 opportunities to get to that grand finals. Obviously, winning this one is the better one. You get the game advantage, but you lose this one, you still drop to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and I do got a question for you. So we just saw effects with how they played, and now we're coming into this game, and you'd mentioned, kind of knowing what the opposition's looking like across the way. How do you feel about game one? Do you feel that it's important, obviously, because it's the first dub, or can you kind of use it even if you do falter to be able to still be able to kind of, dissect that other team?
It can be interesting. I think it could be either way. I think it's more, it's always better to have a game win. It's always better to have that extra thing under your belt, but it could also be like you said, if the opponent is if the opposing team uses strategies game 1, if they have nothing to come back with and you're just like, "Okay, we know all your strategies. We beat you the next of 3." Yeah, it can be good, but I personally think having that first game win is always better.
I'm gonna be interested to see as far as these teams how they come out here early. We saw as far as on effects, we saw what was that in game two. Their defense, even though they lost that game, it felt like with the amount of shots looking for teams sent their way, it felt like their defense still could, I think, hang their hats on. I think they only allowed 3 goals. It's just they couldn't keep up on the other side of the pitch. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be kind of interested to see not only just their defense, but if they can come out here and put a couple goals up on the board here first. I'm going to be really excited to see kind of how things break down.
Well, let's see how both things break down here as we get into game number 1. Again, winner advances to that grand final, that best of 7 with the game advantage. So it's a nice one. Some early offense from Snowf. Again, this team very renowned from Oui Oui. They're going to be battling effects here for this win.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting things off started here early, and you can see Oui Wui's going to be trying to push up into that zone. A first demo going to be coming in here as well. Unfortunately, not going to be able to capitalize much off of that as far as early, but I do want to see both teams now actually coming out with demos, playing aggressive. Who's going to be able to use that aggression and be able to find the back of the net first?
That really is the question. You also mentioned a nice crossbar post combination, but you mentioned how Team Effects, that in game number 2, their defense was there. They kept the score close. Other than game number 1 and 3, where they really exploded their lead, even when from behind, they felt comfortable. So can Oui Oui, if they score goals, can they build enough of a lead to kind of, can not just stave off Team Effects?
We do see here Zeko's going to be going the opposite way with it here off the side while playing things a little slow, trying to see if they can get just a little bit of hesitation from the side of Effects. But Effects defense coming in, playing really stout, but Snowf not going to allow them to clear the side for long, and even a second touch there on the 50-50, still allowing for the side of Oui Oui to continue to keep that pressure down. But Christian, I think, should get enough to be able to give their team some relief.
Should be enough here. Still 0-0 though. No early goals right now. About a minute and a half already passed in this game number 1. But Cop trying to add that first one. Will play a little bit aggressive, but some nice micro passing right now from Team Effects to get that out of their defensive zone and looking to go forward. Ezekiel, a nice intercept in the air. And that's the thing. We're so far into this tournament. You're not going to get any simple pass for free. Every single pass is going to be contested, and you see it there right at the back end.
Yeah, I think the big thing you mentioned there, right, is nothing's for free, which does mean that every touch has to be deliberate. And right now we're seeing where it's just kind of about getting a nose on the ball, not really making sure you have the perfect sense of direction here. And now we do see Effects trying to come in with a counter, trying to send things the opposite way. But Comp says, nah, none of that. Let's go back my way, homie. But I love to see on the side of Effects, they're playing relentless pass off the back wall and a beautiful save from Oui Oui.
Yeah, another shot towards that back wall. Effects definitely showing up to play here in this game number one. A lot of different shots across the board from both teams, but still 0-0. Half of this game has passed away now. Christian looking for a shot though. It's an empty net. It's a slow roller, but it goes wide right.
I really thought we were just going to be seeing that whole thing in slow-mo there, Llama. That was going to be our first goal of the game. Nice break, though, to still be able to make sure that we're keeping this thing knotted up at 0. Oui Oui is going to be able to send the ball back, still into that offensive zone, still playing aggressive in the corners here as well. Effects trying to see if they can put something together to be able to get some sort of offensive attack, because Comp keeping things alive here for Oui Oui, and it feels like the tide's starting to turn just a little bit.
Does it feel that way? But as we know, the tide as well as the earth polarity kind of rotates, shifts here as it will continue on through this game. Minute 30 left, still no goals, which means it's a very tight game. One goal, one mistake could decide a lot here. Some good offense from Effects, but they'll have to get back on the rotates. Both these teams really good at not allowing those multiple opportunities. You get the first or second shot, and then you're rotating back.
Now you're seeing here, though, I mean, Effects still haven't been able to get a clear, Llama, and I'm starting to get concerned. Zico's going to be able to not get enough of it to put that one onto goal, but Comp's going to send that thing across. Beautiful defense coming in, though, from Effects. They need to come in with a clear. There's 60 seconds left. You got to start getting some momentum on that offensive side. We see a demo creating a little bit of space in the net. That's going to be a shot on the goal by Ramen, and that's going to be Effects with the first one.
And that is beautiful. Ramen is going to find this one. Christian with the assist. A nice centering pass just to lay it on down right to the middle of the field. And that one comes very late in the game. We were talking about it was 0-0, that standstill for so long. So 48 seconds on the board for Oui Oui to find a response.
Yeah, you need something quick here. I mean, the good news for you is you spent a lot of time in the zone, so you got to probably feel like you're due. But just being due isn't enough, especially when you have some opportunities like that where it feels like just a little bit of a miss hit ends up taking things just the wrong way. And time now of the essence. The ball hasn't been cleared yet, though, Llama, so the dream's still alive.
Dream's still alive here, and with 0 seconds on the clock, there is always that danger, but there you go. Antics will add a second to it. An open net goal there, just the demo and no rotation back. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you had the sniper shot there. You also had Ziegel, who I think just came up off of the demo. So I think just spawned in, probably wouldn't have even been able to turn there in time to get to the boost had they been fully aware. And it looked like maybe we're going to be able to see a first unopportune goal off the kickoff, but that's not going to be the case. And just as we had seen in that last series here, Llama, it does look like it's going to have the same effect here in our upper bracket finals, as it's going to be Effects winning game number 1.
Yeah, you talk about Effects, team Effects, beautiful in that game number 1 to take it. Albeit, it wasn't a bad game for them. You know, the first 4 minutes were just standstill. Both teams getting opportunities, getting touches, and that's the thing. You know, going into game number 2, we talk about it's a longer series. So what? You could win one game. Can you win all 3? Now it's a good start for team Effects, but those late goals, are they going to come? And those empty net ones, Oui Oui is not always going to make those mistakes.
And even though you technically have a longer series, if you're Oui Oui here, you cannot afford to go down 2-0, right? Because from what we've seen from Effects, once you give them an edge, they are going to take a mile. 5 shots felt decent. You got to be able to do something about giving yourself more opportunities in that offensive zone. I don't know if it's about coming up with quality counters or what, but it felt like there towards the end, we started to figure it out, but the front end of the game, it was really so much on the side of Effects.
Yeah, I really was. Going into game number 2, though, like you said, really cannot drop this one. I'm not good at math, but I can tell you the statistics when it comes to pulling off that reverse sweep. Very hard, but shots early, they don't want to make it.
What a beautiful save coming in. I think that was actually a double commit there to get the save on the side of Effects, able to make sure that that defense keeps that thing knotted up at 0 early. Of course, those early goals can sometimes very much swiftly swing the side of momentum, so great job there. Now you got to be able to get the clear to try and go things the opposite way. We looking to threaten to score, but again, when they're in the offensive zone, yeah, you're getting touches. The question is, are they quality touches though, right?
That is the real question. Effects putting some good flow on this ball right now. Christian trying to make the final touch right in, but unfortunately read out beautifully by Oui Oui contesting that. But the extra pressure, the second man is back, and that's Antics finding an early 1-minute goal.
That's going to be a huge goal there to be able to open things up here in game number 2. You mentioned didn't take much time and being able to capitalize. Comp was trying to rotate back, but unfortunately just didn't have enough in the tank. Now, if you're Oui Oui, you got to start playing with a sense of urgency. Even though this is a best of 5, now you've lost the first one and you're in the deficit.
In the deficit here, and obviously Twitch chat, Heps put 69,000 points down, so 99% of Twitch chat with Oui Oui here. Team Effects, the fans will definitely be happy if they win, but we'll see. Still long series ahead of us. 3 minutes 30 left to play. A nice drop down ball once again. Oui Oui though good at reading out that defense. Comp on the aerial ball. Christian gonna try and contest this one, keeping this one in as long as possible. Like you said, Effects very, very opportune on these touches.
Yeah, and I am starting to get a little concerned because Oui Oui just hasn't been able to come up with huge clears. And the other thing is I'm starting to see on the side of Effects, their defensive rotations very, very on point. They're not playing too aggressive. They're not playing too far forward, which sometimes does allow Oui Oui to kind of break up the immediate attack, but it also allows them to keep that pressure up, which they're able to come in from the shadows with a nice little play like we see here from Antics, and they now have a 2-goal lead.
A 2-goal lead here. A goal every minute now, pretty literally, actually, as they've scored one at 4:02, 3:03 here. Team Effects Antics having a really good game as well. You got to give it to them. Some good shots, threading the needle, even when there's defenders back, because we talked about it. At this high level, you're not going to have a free open net. You're going to have to take shots like that.
And now you're on the side of Oui Oui. The question is, when does the answer come in? Because you need more than one. That would have been so nice. You would like to have that back. And even the follow-up shot as well, as we see a stone wall defense on the side of Effects. And now at this point, going to be able to play a little bit more aggressive. We do see both teams doing a pretty good job managing their boost. Unfortunately, on the side of Oui Oui, they're not really depriving things on the side of Effect. They're not really able to allow them to continue maintaining things going. As you can actually see, Oui Oui now actually falling back in the defensive.
They're falling a little bit back in the defensive. Comp with another shot there. Will try and find it. But like you said, they're trying to speed it up here. They're trying to increase that offense. But Effects is doing a good job of every time they get here, just making them rotate back. A nice shot off the back wall will get read out there. But going the other way, you got to be careful. Antics meeting them at midfield. Christian trying to get this one out. But yeah, Oui Oui, 2 minutes left. The offense still trying to push forward. Ramen the other way. It's a shot right to the net. Comp will defend it.
Ramen with the nice shot. And of course, now at this point, when you're Effects, the more time that you spend down here on this Oui Oui half of the pitch, it puts more of that pressure down, especially because it's not just a goal deficit. It is a 2-goal deficit. Comp needs to be able to make something happen. Leaves it off the back wall, but the defense from Effects just seems to be so quick, Llama.
It also seems like, you know, the plays are just like a half second off. You know, they're getting these fly-ins, they're getting these centered balls towards each other, but the players are just a little bit out of sync, unable to find those passes. So with a minute 15 left, yes, it's still possible you come back in this game, but not if they get another right here, and 6 adds another.
And that's going to be at number 3 for Effects. And oh my goodness, nice team play there. It just looks so, it's like a masterpiece, a clinic, you might even say. And now Effects a minute away from being up 2-0 in our winners final.
Very, very close to that, trying to get there, like we talked about that. The statistics not there for you, Antics. Why not at a 4th? Come on.
So this is funny, right? Because it almost looks like Effects from on their side with the team bump that wasn't going to make it across, but unfortunately on the side of Oui Oui, both players also still kind of falling back on the momentum in their right, and I can only imagine for them it was like watching it in slow-mo as that ball trickled across the goal line, and it's now 4 goals, and it looks like it's pretty well a decision.
Yeah, we thought 3 goals was going to be the end of
Oh,
it, but
oh.
Comp is going to breathe some life into this team, as Comp usually does. A nice intercept off the wall. That's the first goal here for Oui Oui.
I really like the aggressive defensive play, and being able to win that 50-50 is going to be able to help you a little bit as far as build some motivation. The question is it a little, too late, right? I mean, 45 seconds, you're still down 3 on the side of effects. And we can talk about being able to build some additional little mental heading into game 3, but when you're trying to build the mental and you need to go for the reverse sweep against a team like Effects, who seems to really just have so much control, it all feels like it's for naught, for real.
Oh, another nice little touch, though. Like you said, they are laying on the aggression late into this game number 2. Comp, another good soft touch shot, but doesn't go anywhere too close towards the back of the net. Just single digits now on the clock as it continues to tick on down. Effects holding their 3-goal lead very strong. Some extra offense, why not? Some buffoonery happening at 0 seconds, but Ramen will get one final touch, and Effects will take the second game.
And Effects, I mean, really just kind of able to keep that control up from the word goal. The word goal. I mean, I guess technically from the word goal, from the word go. Now going to be up 2-0, feeling really good. I do gotta say though, I feel like Oui Oui, when you look at their offensive attack, started to figure things out. They just couldn't push it all the way across the goal line. A couple of them that were just like on the doorstep. But who knows? Maybe that rides up the perfect storyline for a comeback.
And it also did seem like, they were making a couple simple mistakes. So going into game number 3, if they could possibly polish those up, you talked about some of the momentum. Yes, it's only 1 goal, but in that last minute, they piled on some extra aggression. They were looking pretty good. So now they are in a bad scenario, though. We talked about it. You go down 2. Now you're in a reverse sweep where the statistics are not good. But if we're breathing the hopium, we're not going to mention them.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You just gotta take it one game at a time, right? At this point, you can't win the series here, but you sure can lose the series here. So let's just come out, keep this series alive one game at a time, especially because both of the games did feel, for the most part, relatively close, right? So I feel like you've had some solutions. You just really need to be able to put things together here in game 3.
We'll go into game number 3 here. Effects already on series point. Oui Oui trying to turn the tide. Again, if either of these teams does lose the series, they're not out of the tournament just yet. The lower bracket finals does await the loser of this matchup, that best of 3 series, to see who battles the winner of this game. But, Q, that game advantage running this series is very good.
Yeah, I mean, you always love to have the game advantage, right? Also, it's the motivation, the momentum, the mental. Also, too, you get the time to sit on the sideline and kind of dissect whoever it is that you are inevitably going to be able to come across. So there's so many positives to it, at least as far as as long as you can stay warm, I think is the most important thing, right? But we've seen most of our teams normally able to do so. As far as speaking about warm, it looks like getting warm. We just unfortunately, though, not finding the back. Nice counterattack, but the defense coming in big.
And defense coming in absolutely massive there. A double commit, unfortunately, and Team Effects are once again getting multiple opportunities. Oui Oui unable to clear it out. Finally, we'll try and get it there, but contests in the corner. Christian putting another shot on board. It bounces off the backboard for a little bit of time. And again, they're so effective with it. Christian not even exiting the zone there. Will get a touch. It's off the crossbar, but, minute 30, and Effects already has so much control.
Yeah, it just feels like at this point they're knocking on the doorstep time and time again. Even though Oui Oui's defense is very much a big yes right now, at some point it feels like they're going to let one come across, and their offense hasn't shown us enough through the first 2 games to let me know that if they do fall behind once again, Llama, that they'll be able to come to the comeback, not just to force the overtime, but inevitably be able to come up with the dub.
100%. Well, there is still some time on the clock, and it is still 0-0 for now. Almost a nice shot there. It's flying right out of the corner. Players of Effect trying to teamwork together. Some friendly fire there, but put the blazing shot on board. But Team Effect, they're reading them again.
Honestly, their defense really coming in tough. And I feel like sometimes those type of saves can also be very deflating because we've had a couple of shots that you just look like they're beamers and they're on point. and then somehow a player from Effects happens to come from out of the screen and able to come in with the save. I thought Christian was going to get enough to be able to get that as a shot, but Ramen does, and that does mean once again it is going to be Effects with the lead.
Unfortunately, Comp unable to stop that one in the air. The ground game strong enough for Effects, so halfway through this game number 3, they are taking the lead once more, looking stronger than ever. Oui Oui, how do they respond?
Yeah, you gotta see for Oui Oui, the tough thing is they haven't shown the ability to respond in bunches just quite yet. At least for now, the lead is only one, which means the one response at least brings you to a tie. But when you're allowing the biscuit to sit there right in front of the basket right there, you've got to have some concerns. It's 2 minutes left. You got to start moving with a little bit of sense of urgency. And it seems like their urgency is now actually getting them out of position. It's allowing Effects to really have control of the pace.
I'll talk about some control here. Demo and goal. There is your answer, Q.
I wanted the series to go a little longer, Llama, so I had to do the caster thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just had to make sure that we spice things up a little bit. It's like a neutral evil. I do it for entertainment. Do you know?
Yeah, 100%. But also, that's just a good play. Like, demoing, getting the teamwork, there's only one player back. So, making use of that is some good signs of life here from Oui Oui as they tie this game right back on up. Zico, though, is going to try and rotate back here, pick up that large chunk of boost, and drive it on forward. Gets intercepted out in the corner, and the teammates are there. Another couple of players being a little bit tiny out of position. Antics, look at the shot. It's off the crossbar. So many good touches. Off the post, just a little bit off target.
And it felt like that last possession was more of a story that we've seen from Oui Oui over the last couple of games. This time towards Effects. I thought Effects was going to be able to get themselves another opportunity at an attack. Isn't going to be the case, which means now Oui Oui gets to flip the pressure. Can you take advantage of the opportunity, especially because you got a couple of demos that's going to create space, and Zekel is going to be able to get the goal, and Oui Oui now has the lead.
Yeah, a double commit from the side of Effects. That means a double demo there and can just slam that one home. Zekel on the shot, Comp on the assist, and the first lead here for Oui Oui.
That looked so well, just to be the coordination there on the side of Oui Oui. That's what we've been missing in those first couple of games. It looked like Effects was going to be able to get a quick response. Luckily for Oui Oui, their defense able to stand tall.
Defense holding tall, holding strong here. 40 seconds left, though, for both these teams. A nice extra demo will add to that offensive pressure, but Zekel wants to go the other way, trying to control this one in midair. We'll have some teammates there, but Team Effects want to keep this offense going. Again, since it is that 1-goal lead, they can play till that buzzer hits.
Yeah, and now we can see, though, they're going to quickly flip the field down. They're going back to defense if they start to see the demolitions coming. And again, that was what allowed Oui Oui to create that space for goal number 2. However, Effects does enough to be able to go into the offensive zone just a tad bit wide. And with 5 seconds left on the clock, it does look like that Oui Oui has done enough to be able to keep the series alive. And it's going to go to a game 4.
At game number 4, we are going to start. They're going to pick up the first win of this reverse sweep. You talked about you just got to play it game by game here. And actually, towards the end of that game, they were playing really well. You talked about at the beginning, it was back and forth. They had some shots. Both teams were taking opportunities, but the demo play really seemed to liven them up. That first goal, the teamwork, getting everybody involved there. And now going into game number 4, it's only a 1-goal win, but you shut down Team Effects. You didn't let them, ramp up on all those goals, and you scored some good ones for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stats here, Lama. We're talking about 12 shots on goal, 4 Effects, and they were only able to find the back of the net once. Now, kind of concerning. That means that they were able to put a lot of pressure down in the offensive zone. However, on the opposite side, you've only got 5 shots for Oui Oui, and you're finding the back of the net 5 times. So your efficiency there. What I am concerned about, though, is if you aren't able to really seize control on the defensive side, give a little bit of resistance and start pushing them back. Can you depend on those? I don't want to call them lucky counterattacks because they were nice plays, but sometimes a counter is exactly what it is, right?
100%, but also in that last 30 seconds, they looked like they were controlling. It is the last 30 seconds, things can happen, but they were controlling their defense a little bit better. And that's what we were talking about is team effects. They were just getting those passes for free. We were literally talking about at this stage of the tournament, you can't give anything for free. You got to fight for every single pass. As soon as they started doing that, they look like they have a new fire lit under them. And going into game number 4, it's a whole nother new game. You win this one, you get to a best of 1 in game 5.
Yeah, especially because at this point you've shown yourself on the defensive side. You can start really stonewalling things. I think what's important here in game number 4, Llama, is you got to start stepping things up on the offensive side. You haven't really shown the ability to score with ease, right? It's kind of like a, hey, we get them where we can get them. Luckily, our defense has gotten us this far. Defense only gets you so far if you're not making your shots and putting that pressure down. I'm really looking for the offense to set the tone here in game 4.
I'm hoping to see it too. Comp obviously has set up some good shots, some good goals as well. Would love to see Comp step up going into this next game. And honestly, the whole team's got to step up. Unfortunately, like you can't just say it's a 3-player game. I know it's the most obvious thing to say, but get all 3 players involved.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, we had talked about in the last game. I can't remember who was the sole player that we talked about. Effects, keep an eye out for on looking for the team there, but they were able to get it done on the side of Oui Oui. You need to get all 3 players rocking and rolling here. It felt like things started to go your way in game number 3. You got to be able to continue to play very, very not only aggressive, but it does need to be in control because effects only need 1 dub.
That's the good news for Team Effects. They got that extra cushion. They got another shot as well there. Lovely to see some early offense going. And if they can completely, flip that flow, if they can, again, get it back, it could be completely in their court. There you go. Christian had 1.
Yeah, and, very, very quickly here for Effects. And that's going to be big because we saw that. Remind me if I'm remembering this correctly. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Oui Oui scored first in their game that they won, right? So they now need to play from behind and then regain that lead and maintain that lead. Now, of course, 4 minutes, 15 seconds, plenty of time, but when you see that right away, you'll be able to put pressure on offense. It's at least a little bit of a motivating factor.
Some good pressure off of that kickoff. That's always good to have here. A minute gone, Effect's going to be holding that 1-goal lead. It's like you said, how can they play from this deficit? Can they find that matching goal like Effect seems to always do here and try to rack up some back and forth? Some demos going to go through as those plays have been really nice, but sending it right back on through midfield. Christian's got the solo play. The double touch will be denied. Comp reading it out.
That's going to be still Effects, though, keeping the control in that offensive zone here. You can see, not really getting in much of their 50-50s, being able to get too much momentum going on the side of Oui Oui. I thought Effects was going to be able to get that second touch towards the net, but even though they start to get the clear, I mean, Effects just feels like they have so much control.
Aerial control especially. Christian has been just owning the airspace there as they, pull multiple players up towards that side, making that last player make that save. And that can be dangerous going down the line, but going dangerous the other way is Zekel. Beautiful from Christian, working on both sides of the field.
Yeah, I like to see the aggression coming in enough to be able to make sure you get enough of the ball, and I think also enough of the body there as well to make sure that momentum really pushes that thing out and away. But you can see, haven't gotten the clear. Actually, that's going to come off the back wall. Comp tries to drop it down. Unfortunately, no one there to follow up, and we are halfway through game number 5 here. Oui Oui still going to be down by 1. Ramen keeping the drive alive, at least temporarily. No counterattack coming in, at least for now, from Oui Oui, but they are going to push back into the offensive zone, Llama.
You talked about, though, how ever important that, early goal is between these two. Effects scoring that early one, have held that lead for now 2 minutes of time. But yeah, some good offense coming out from Oui Oui. We'll see if they can find that response in these final 2 minutes. Right now, up across the wall, we'll try to get it through midfield. Comp, a beautiful touch to lay it in, has to go off the backboard. But again, the players are just a little bit too slow. Trying to follow up this time. Snow looking for it, almost a touch off the opposing player. The offense tries to continue, starving away the boost to the opposing team, adding to it, but this one looks like it's going to go right back to Effects.
Yeah, but we are seeing, Oui Oui doing a great job controlling that boost, question is, can they be able to find a way to really break the defense here? Because now no boost on the side of effects. That's going to come off the back wall, and it's going to be Zekel that's going to be able to find the equalizer with 93 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, you can never count out Oui Oui. And this last 30 seconds, they just applied the pressure, starved them out of boost, and just kept attacking. Eventually, that defense has to crack, right? And it does. Now tied up 1-1 at minute 30 left in the clock.
And man, talk about coming up with a quick answer and then doubling down here is going to be Snowf. And now for Oui Oui, you are 90 seconds away from being a game away from pulling off the reverse sweep.
And this is huge. You know, you talk about it. You win this game. You get to game 5. You make it a best of 1 with so much momentum on your side. Oui Oui, 2 quick goals like you mentioned. Minute 30 to still try and hold that lead. And we've seen the offense of Team FX before. They can really score, and they got some teamwork. That's the most important thing. And Tix there plays one in, but no, Zekel says.
Ooh, able to keep things alive, and then the counter attack the opposite way. Bang with the sniper rifle from distance. What was really meant to be more of a clear, I'm pretty sure, by comp, but you know what? We take those. It doesn't always necessarily need to be pretty in order for it to count.
Doesn't need to be. If it's in, it is in. Comp the $100,000 shot from goal to goal off the kickoff too. Christian will be able to get there quick enough, but man, Oui Oui's offense has come alive once again in the back half of a game. Comp trying to add more to it, uses all the boost to get there, but still pulls some more players as they continue this offense. 1 minute remaining. Effects need 2 to tie it back.
Ooh, and another demo to create space in Comp. 1 more time, run it up, run it up, run it up. That's 4 of them things for Oui Oui.
And we said it might have had been Comp to step up to get this offense livened up. How about 7 shots, 2 goals in this game number 4 as Oui Oui, they increase the lead to 3, making it ever harder for Effects to come back in this game.
And now for effects, you just want to be able to give yourself a consolation prize. You need to be able to show yourself that you still remember how to find the back of the net. It's been a while since you've been able to score multiple times, and at this point, even just a second one would say, hey, we're starting to figure things out. Antic gets a shot on the net, but Comps comes in from nowhere with the save. It gets left off the back wall. No one's going to be there. No, actually, it is going to be Snow from out of nowhere in their own right. 20 seconds left, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a game 5.
Oh, I'm so excited. I knew this series would not disappoint, and Comp is not disappointed. Putting another aerial BU on the board. Zekel will follow up. Make it 5.
5 of them things starting to run up the score just a little bit. Make sure you're saving some of those for game 5, boys, because it's a big enough lead now. 7 seconds left here as they start to count down. And as much as it looked like Effects was in control over the first 2 games, Oui Oui has really done a good job of being able to reverse that. And as we always talk about, that big momentum word very firmly on their side.
100%. I mean, I didn't want to bring up the statistics, but they get vastly better when you win 2 games in a row off of that reverse sweep. Now it just comes down to a best of 1. And like you said, there's 2 games on either side, but who's the team that just won 2 in a 5-1 fashion as well in that last one?
Yeah, I mean, it looked so dominant on the side of Oui Oui. I mean, yeah, there were some games earlier where Effects started to run up the shots, but look at the stats. 18 shots from Oui Oui. That's absolutely insane. So, yeah, naturally, you're going to find the back of the net a handful of times when you're shooting it that much. You know what I mean? But, on the side of Effects, they did get some shots, 6 of those things, but they need it almost feels like it's the tale of what we talked about at the break in game 2, where it felt like Oui Oui wasn't getting very many quality touches. It now kind of feels like that on the Effects half of the pitch.
Yeah, and it's also an interesting thing. We talked about Effects. One of their major qualities was that ability to come back, that ability to get those countering goals, to stop the bleeding immediately and say, okay, we'll find that tying goal. We have another play that we can set up. But in both these last games, really haven't found those. So that is scary, but we are going to a game number 5. 1 game to decide who is going to that grand finals first. And the stakes could not be higher, Q. That match, that game advantage is still on the line.
Yeah, I mean, you're still in the upper bracket. I mean, yeah, it's nice to know that you got the bonus life still at hand, but knowing that eventually that goal is to be in the grand final, you would definitely love to have that game advantage. And at this point, you're just one game away. The unfortunate news is you're also a game away from the lower bracket. So a little bit of pressure for both of these teams. Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. Game number 5 of our winner bracket final.
And some early pressure off a kickoff here from Oui Oui. Like you said, one goal could decide it. One game will, and Zekel won't even take 10 seconds to find the first.
And one shot is apparently all it takes here for Oui Oui to bust things open in game number 5. And it feels like when they find the goal early, they are going to be able to walk away with the dub, as when we talk about the history over the course of this series. Now, of course, with the very early goal, that does mean plenty of time for effects, but when they're allowing plays like this and more shots at the net, it's not looking good.
Not looking good so far, but it is a long game here. Still 4 minutes 30 left on the clock, because that goal again came at the 7-second marker. But continuing this offense, really liven it up. No! A nice top shelf shot.
And now you've got to be concerned over on that effects half of the pitch here, Llama. The mental. Now seeing 2 goals go across that end line in 30 seconds in a win or go to the lower bracket scenario. Now, you always talk about that word time. Time is on their side in the sense that there's 4 minutes and 15 seconds of it, not on their side in the sense of every second that's spent on the pitch, that dwindles down.
And the more we can control this ball, the more that time is going to tick down. But Antics is going to find this one right out of the air and put that one in the back of the net.
And that's what you're looking for, right? Over on the side of effects, to be able to come up with a response. And it was all three players able to really deliver off the backboard one to another to be able to keep up that pressure at the front of the net. At some point, you're going to stuff it in. And now you are down by just a sole goal, but that's going to be a shot. Nice deflection here to be able to prevent any sort of quick hit off of that face-off. Antics keeps the drive alive going into the offensive zone. Effects starting to show a little bit of life here.
And that's important for effects, because even in the last 2 games, even though they lost them, they controlled the early half of the game. So if Oui Oui was walking out of this one with a 3-goal lead out of that first half of the game, I would be really concerned, because they can score late. They have those plays built up. They will play off your disadvantage. But as this continues to go, some other good offense coming out from Oui Oui as the players looking to set up something more.
Yeah, you can see Zekel here is going to take one hit off the back wall to himself, but a beautiful save with, I think, 2/3 of that ball across the line. Able to get enough on it, though, to go the opposite way here. Now, for effects, the question becomes not just the defense, but can you get the back of the net? Nice little shot there. That's Antics coming up with the response.
Yeah, Antics will tie this one up. Has been an offensive staple of this series. So 2 minutes into the game, a nice little touch there to finish it. Antics. We'll tie it up here. So 3 minutes left to go. The standoff ensues.
There it is. Now we're all tied back up. It's a best of 1, and there is just 3 minutes left on the clock. Antics getting filthy with it, but a nice save coming in from Oui Oui. And you had mentioned, Lum, the later the game goes, if we don't see effects take a lead, it feels like the odds start to favor Oui Oui here. So effects, it feels like even though you have knotted things up, you still need another goal in the next minute or so to really be feeling comfortable, and I thought that was going to be it.
Yeah, Antics, so good mechanics there to keep control of the ball. Now, obviously, the winner of this game will move on to that grand finals. Buffoonery is waiting down in the lower bracket for whoever doesn't win this game. Zekel wants to be the player to add that goal, but unfortunately, the crossbar will deny you for now.
And able to keep things alive, tied up here at 2 apiece. Almost just over 2 minutes, I should say, really, at this point. Nice filthy play from Comp, and it's going to be Oui Oui with the goal.
This is, I mean, you didn't have to do them like that. The 1v1 beats them in the air off of their car and can beat the final player back too. Oui Oui, they are finding their response. It's like you said, getting into the back half of this game, they are going to pick up these creative plays, and that lead increases to 1 again for Oui Oui, but almost another good combination from effects.
Yeah, I thought Ramen was going to be able to get enough to be able to get a good strike on the goal, but unfortunately wasn't the case here. And you do now have to start worrying about the pace of play over on the side of effects, because the later that we get into the game has generally been in favor of Oui Oui. Now they need to be able to find themselves a response. They got to start putting pressure down, and it seems that Oui Oui is the one that's really being able to seize control.
It really has been, but minute 30 left on the clock. Some demos being picked up on the field here as both teams trying to add that towards their toolkit. But Christian trying to add a goal. It's a bar down and out. Unfortunately, effects. That one just hurts not going in here. And if they can clear this, there's 2 players back. The rotations are off. Snowf is trying to add another. The final player saves it, and Comp won't be able to finish it.
Oh, man, if they would have been able to go the opposite way and double up on their lead, that would have been so huge for Oui Oui. But still, the defense on their side coming in absolutely clutch. And now Effects has 55 seconds to be able to find an equalizer. Otherwise, they will be going on to facing up against Buffoonery in that loser's bracket final. And Antics and company need to be able to find a response. You can see playing the ball off the corner, but unfortunately nothing towards the net. And if this ball gets cleared, it feels like that's just about curtains.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, that so what, they don't get a goal. They're wasting all of this time. There's 30 seconds left now. Effects need to find a goal. They're gonna need it quick. Off into the corner here. Christian gonna try and add this one down to 20. Going to clear once more. Antics gonna try and add another. Off this defense, though, they're stuck in their defensive rotation right now. Going up in the air. It's off the crossbar. It's out. Single digits once more here. Effects, they need another offense. It's going back. Comp wants to hold the ball all the way to the goal line. This has to stay in the air. Zeros on the clock. The reverse sweep looking more and more like it's going to happen as each second passes here on these 0-0s. One final opportunity. Comp going to slay it to the ground. It'll bounce down, and we have done it. They got the brooms out. They pulled off the reverse sweep.
Wow, able to pull off the reverse sweep, and even with we saw them knocking at the doorstep at the last second, able to put up the stone wall, and they will be sitting in the grand final waiting to see who makes their way out of the lower bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, Heps doesn't have to go cry because 69,000 channel points not going to be lost there. I was a little bit scared too. I'm not going to lie. After game 2, it looked like Team Effects had that in the bag. But like you said, Team Effects, they're not done. They showed us some good things. They'll be moving down to the lower bracket. They got a best of 3, so a little bit shorter series. And, if that series would have been a best of 3, they would have won.
Yeah, I feel like, though, it's going to be really important to see what they can do in game number 1 after dropping this. Here's going to be a quick look at our bracket as far as how we've gotten to where we've gotten to, right? So we are going to be seeing Effects now, funny enough, back to back to back, as we're going to be following them now down into that lower bracket. We're going to be seeing them facing off against Buffoonery, as you had talked about, Llama, in that best of 3. We'll be back with that matchup here right after a quick break.
It's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Frost Esports, our weekly Rocket League tournament, will be continuing here with just 2 series left to go here. We're going to be continuing in this lower bracket, a best of 3 to decide the second team that's going up to play in that grand finals.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here. Obviously, we have watched Effects now here for the last couple of games. We've seen them win one. We've seen them lose one. And now they're down into this bottom lower final here. Best of 3, as you talked about, against Buffoonery. But you know what? Who needs to talk about it? Let's be about it here, Lava.
Yeah, both of these teams unfortunately sent to the lower bracket by Oui Oui, so both of them looking for that Cinderella run right back up to the grand finals for that rematch. Obviously, Oui Oui is going to be waiting there with that game advantage, but you know, you get up there, you guarantee yourself a share of that prize pool, which is always nice to have.
And now here, of course, with it being a best of 3, you got to play with a little bit more of a sense of urgency. That's going to go off of the top post here. And now if you're on the side of Effects, which we do see, of course, in the orange, as you can see at the top of your screen here, you got to see if you can set the tone a little bit. It feels like Effects is at their best when they're playing a deliberate pace. And if Buffoonery ends up playing faster than that, it feels like that's the key to success.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. Will be interesting to see, though. You know, we talk about in the best of 5, you have that first game to kind of see what your opponents are throwing out. This game, you really don't. You lose the first game, your opponents are already on series point. You can't drop another of the next 2 games. So we'll see how these 2 teams, it does affect them. But off the post here and on in, it's going to be Juro finding the first goal.
That's a huge first goal here on the side. Here to be able to get themselves the first one, and they just seem to have been playing very fast, very, I don't want to say reckless because it feels like it's under control, but they are being relentless, that's for sure.
Relentless and ready for the attack. Tuv gonna get a demo there on their way out of the zone here. About a minute past here in this game 1 of 3 possibly in this loser's final right now. But the offense continues. Juro gonna connect that one off in midfield as the teammate's gonna be there to try and back him up as well. Some back and forth and some pressure over this midfield is gonna be good. Antics we know can be the sharpshooter. Passing up the teammate. Antics won't get the touch they want.
Was a nice shot on the goal here, but it's not going to have enough oomph on it to be able to find the back of the net. That would have been able to be the equalizer here for effects, but of course with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock, still plenty of time left. But it has felt like Buffoonery has been the team really controlling the pace. They need to start being able to do that in their own right. That's going to be Antics with the shot, but Juro with a beautiful save.
Another beautiful save to continue that defense going. Christian above the net, though, trying to look a little bit dangerous. We've talked about how Team Effects can really control the air, but at this point right now, not controlling the leaderboard. But still half this game left to go. Still that 1 goal deficit on the board, and Whale and company are driving once again. Yet another demo, but Antics, a fast save.
Oh, and now you're going to be concerned if they might be able to come up with the counter here, but there was a good stop, at least briefly, on the side of Buffoonery. And Buffoonery seems to be a team that kind of feels okay and feels comfortable rotating a little bit heavier up onto that offensive side. They always seem to have the one back needed when it comes the most clutch, but otherwise it seems like they love playing fast, and that, as we had talked about, could really play to the detriment of Effects. Effects needs to come up with a good counter here.
Needs to come up with something, but right now Buffoonery once again in this offensive zone. The passing looking good. Whale trying to get some extra control off in the corner, but Christian and the team have some other ideas. Ramen going to contest for this one, wins the 50-50 on the low ground, meaning the teammate can take it out. Like you said, the counterattack needs to be hitting, and Antics in the air has been dangerous, but is red.
Yeah, unfortunately wasn't able to find anything there, but Ramen gets just enough on it here to allow Antics to keep the play alive. And you can see still over here now on that Buffoonery half of the pitch, doing just enough to be able to keep things under control. And at least temporarily, I thought they were doing a relatively good job of controlling the boost, but Buffoonery does do a good job of coming up with the clear, but it's only temporary, as you can see Christian taking it the opposite way.
Taking it the opposite way here. Time slowly dwindling down, though. Only about a minute. This one, though, is going right to the back of the net. Took them 4 minutes, but Team Effects will find the tying goal.
That was beautiful there. Antics just drops it right back down. Ramen gives it just enough of a tap-a-roo. And we're all tied up at 1 in game 1 with 1 minute and 5 seconds still left onto the clock. The question is who can win the quick tussle of the tug of war here early off of the kickoff. And it looks like Effects seems to be making an attack. They were able to get a demo to buy them some room, a bunch of space, and that's going to be Ramen doubling up.
This is huge here from Team Effects. Not only do they find that tying goal, they're really good at chaining these together. Ramen finding the shot off of Antics. Beautiful pass there. 52 seconds left on the clock. I was thinking we were going to have a nice juicy overtime, but Team Effects, they're looking to take game 1.
Yeah, Team Effects able to come up and put up the 2 right there back to back. Now the question is, can your defense hold tall? It looks like they're, at least for now, making sure that their offense keeping the ball over on this half of the pitch. You got to make sure that there's no counters in wait for Buffoonery, and it would be such a big win for Effects because it felt like Buffoonery for so long had control, so to be able to flip that script really on a dime here at the end, and now even going to be able to get themselves the hat trick here for Ramen. And now Effects in so much control.
And Antics with yet another beautiful pass there will lock that one into back the net. 22 seconds, that's not really enough time to come back. I mean, if you can get one here quickly off the kickoff, maybe, but a really good job from Team Effects. Once again, really good at chaining those goals together. Now up to 3, 15 seconds left, though. It's going to be Team Effects driving once again. Tough wants to try and make something of this one last drive they will get, but Antics off into the air once more. We'll leave it up for some teammates. Drain the time down. By the time it hits zeros, Team Effects have already won, but maybe one final drive towards the net and a goal to add on to it.
Hey, you know what? Give yourself one more here as the clock expires for the side of buffoonery. So that way they can look over across the pitch here in between games and say, hey, you know what? Let's not forget that we still have your number as well. And y'all just snuck by in game number one. And that means if we happen to take game number two, if you're on the side of buffoonery, you've got the momentum going into that very much precious game three. So I think on effects, you need to make sure you come out here with your pedal out into the metal and make sure you seize control early.
Yeah, and you talk about it, how they do score that goal pretty late as well, but the shots were pretty close.
Mhm.
Although the scoreboard was close, it seemed a little bit more spread out between that game. It seemed like there were more good opportunities from a Team Effects as they were laying those goals. But that's the one dangerous thing about Team Effects. They can score when they're from behind, and they can just rack up those goals one after another.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the benefit of seeing it multiple times tonight here at Llama, and I feel like here on the side of buffoonery, maybe that little bit of a reminder of what can happen in the lower bracket because they've made a little bit of a run in the lower bracket. Or no, they were sent down here pretty late. Never mind, I thought they had made a little bit of a run in the lower bracket. Regardless, though, these are these teams' last chances, and the fact that you've gotten yourself the first one for effects, knowing what sits for you in Wake in the grand final, I don't think you want to take that much time here because these players have already been playing much longer than we've been casting.
Yeah, 100%. We've had overtimes, we've had longer games, we've had longer series, especially reverse sweep. That was a nice one. But yeah, the fatigue can start to set in as you get later and later. So the more games you're going to be playing, that team up in the grand finals are not. But Team Effects, nonetheless, they are up a game. We'll see if they can take it to game number two.
And here it goes. It's going to be up to this game here to try and turn things around quickly. It looks like trying to make a nice quick pushes here from a buffoonery here off the back four. And that's going to be going in from Juro. And it only took 15 seconds.
Really, really quick goals. This has been their MO. And once again, Juro Tuv combining for it. Just kind of fakes out the other two players and just, okay, it's a free shot in the air.
And it looked so good. Like knowing when to hesitate, it almost reminds me of like the old Top Gun thing where just hit the brakes and they'll drive right by. You know what I mean? Instead of using your boost, just guiding it on in and making them try and make and guess the right play. And now here at this point, you get yourself the first goal relatively early. Now you can play with a little bit of ease of mind. You just can't let that pedal off the metal.
Yeah, definitely cannot here. Yes, Grands is going to be best of 7 with that 1 game advantage. So, Conf, you can enjoy that sitting up there for right now. Both these teams battling again to face that Oui Oui team. But once again, another attack here from Buffoonery, trying to set up these passing plays, adding the pressure as well. Making those multiple attempts here off of the corner. It's going to be beautiful. Antics has to play the defense. Buffoonery, the offense is good. The crossbar is better, but Whale will strike home.
Now you just keep finding yourself a way. Keep that ball in front of the net here, right? Juro gets a touch, leaves it off the crossbar. Whale's able to come in from the shadows, and now that 1-goal lead feeling very much more comfortable as a 2-goal lead. Granted, still plenty of time left, just under 4 minutes here, but it has felt like a very different buffoonery here at this point. And that's the type of fight that we would love to see in the lower bracket final. I want to see how much they can run it up.
I want to see it here as well, showing some good offense. Maybe it's like we said, that game number 1, you can kind of adapt to after it and see what you can throw out in game number 2. We'll see what they can for the rest of it, because like you said, on the watch, there's still 3 minutes and 30 of time left to play. A lot of time in Rocket League time here. So we'll see if either teams can add any more to the board. Tuv trying to add one here with a touch off of the roof.
Yeah. That was pretty filthy here. Able to go up over one. Got playing it up off the wall, and I mean, just at that point, a wide open net. You just have to make sure you don't fumble the bag, and that is now a 3rd goal. Everyone on the team has a goal, but more impressive than that, Llama, everyone on the goal team also has an assist.
That just means they're working well together. The communication 100% on point, and they can make those creative plays. That's the scary thing, is like you said, just making those dirty off the roof, off the ground, wherever they can go to fake out their opponents. Christian, though, has got the fast shot. Antics will be like, okay, it's 2/3 in. I'll make it the full in.
Yeah, you got Antics to being able to do a good job of making sure that they play their angle to come across and just think that thing home. But man, what a heartbreaker. Just couldn't quite get it out from in front of the net, and The unfortunate part for you, if you're buffoonery here, yeah, you got yourself the 3-goal lead, but you scored so quick that there's so much time left because one more goal and now all of a sudden you're only up 1.
Yeah, you got to use this time effectively, continue to play towards that lead. We often talk that, the 2-goal lead is kind of that scary lead. You play a little bit overconfident, and there you go. Christian, it looks like an own goal actually on the other side, but it is in for Team Effects. They will break it within 1.
I wonder if they thought they were going to be able to get enough of that to send it into the corner instead of, unfortunately, sending it into the lower left corner of the goal there, and could be a very, very costly mistake, especially remember Effects game number 1. You could potentially be giving them momentum. Nice little touch from Juro to be able to at least move the ball from in front of the net. Juro now looking again to do the same thing here, and Tuv's going to keep things alive off the corner. Whale might be able to at least keep the offensive drive, but it looks like Effects starting to swing the momentum here.
They're swinging the momentum, but Juro has that extra goal. A goal's a goal, whatever net it goes in, right? So now he got an extra one, but yes, the lead is now within 1 as they try to swing back that pressure from Team Effects. 2 minutes to try and find another one. That's if they can shut down the offense of Buffoonery, who has been very prolific this game, but off of the backboard, Team Effects setting things up. Buffoonery as well, they've been able, like you said, to get every single player involved.
Oh, and now you got Christian needs to make a play. I don't think Juro got to get a second touch on that. Unfortunate there. Made the save so easy. Now going to be trying to go the opposite way with it left in front of the net, but Juro comes in with a big save, knocks that thing from one cross post all the way across the goal line, uninterrupted, luckily enough, but Ramen not allowing the ball to get cleared, getting a little fancy with it, left it for Christian, who couldn't raise up to the skies, and it is still Buffoonery with the 1-goal lead.
Got 1-goal lead here, but time slowly ticking down. 1:15 on the clock now as they've held their lead for some time after that little mistake. A nice drop down there from Juro. No teammate to follow, but you can see it has caused some confusion, and Juro will find an own goal of their own.
I mean, you know what? Sometimes you get one way and then it goes the other, and it's all balanced in the world, right? It is still enough time. I shouldn't say plenty of time. I feel like plenty of time is kind of stretching it for 1 minute and 8 seconds. But there is still enough time where if you are Effects, you can make the turnaround. But I think as on the side of Effects, I think I just want to see, I was going to say a little bit more control at the pace of the game, because right now it's Buffoonery's world, and Effects is just playing in it.
Yeah, 3-goal lead now. It's going to be tough to score these 3 goals in a minute, but, we've seen crazier things today already. We've seen a reverse sweep, so why not make it happen here for Team Effects? Obviously, you still have that game advantage, so you lose this one, you'll be going to a game number 3 to decide it. Again, no extra lives for both of these teams down in this lower final, both trying to work their way right back up to that championship matchup. Juro might be trying to add another. That would feel good. Already some nice goals on the board.
Oh, but Whale now going the opposite way. I thought was looking to try to extend their lead. Not going to be the case, but as the clock does continue to dwindle here, Llama, even if you get yourself a lucky goal and another additional kickoff, it just doesn't feel like time.
Okay. Defense played the invisible man there, and
again, I sometimes I just gotta make things interesting. I got that curse thing on my side, right, and sometimes I just gotta roll it out there.
Is what it is. But, for Effects, that feels good. At least get yourself a goal here nearing the end, but 25 seconds left to go. Almost another kickoff goal, but it goes wide left here. 20 seconds left on the board as Team Effects trying to add maybe one more on the board. It is plausible they would need another real quick, and ticks all of a sudden.
Okay, and now it's 13 seconds left to what we were just joking about as like we were actually joking. Now all of a sudden could potentially become a reality. And it would feel like if they did go into overtime here, the mental on the side of Buffoonery would be just about shattered. Okay.
It'd be pretty chalked, but right now the mental is looking good. 5 seconds left to go. Christian going to try and add one more. But so it took them 11 seconds, Q. They tied it up. Oh, man.
I don't even know what I'm watching here, Llama, anymore.
That's some good seriousness. That's what you're watching here. Fex keeping it strong. The goal come back. Zero's on the clock. Both these teams going to play till the final touch here. Overtime though, Q.
Oh man, here we go. One shot is all it takes, and for the side of Effects, you fought back this far, and now at this point, you've got to feel like momentum's on your side. Kind of concerned a little bit about the mental over on the side of Buffoonery, but you know, again for them too, one shot's all it takes, and they're in the offensive zone for now.
They're setting up good off of this overtime start. We'll see what they can do to finish it. Tub the demo and in. We are going to game 3.
Bro, if Effects would have been able to figure out a way to pull that off, I would have felt bad because these teams felt so tightly contested that it just feels right for us to be getting a game 3 here. You know what I mean? So like the fact that works out the way we need it to is hats off. I love it. I love it.
11 goals. That's all I'm going to say. 11 goals in that game. A lot of them coming in those final 30 seconds.
The end.
We're going to game 3. I guess that's what the fans wanted. That's what we wanted because it gets us a little bit more entertaining. But the stakes could not be higher. It's a best of 1 to see if you're in some prizing, to see if you go up to that grand finals.
You know, it's weird, Llama. You and I, we've casted a few of these Frost events together. I know you've casted more Frost events than I have for sure, but I feel like whenever we talk about going into these like best of 3s and going in with the win, usually you feel very, very confident. But because of all the hecticness there at the end, I don't know if I can say it feels like momentum is truly on Buffoonery's side because they almost gave that, like they feel like they fumbled the bag just to get to overtime. So oh man, here we go. Game 3. Let's get it, I guess.
I mean, I would have to assume they aren't feeling great. That one definitely getting the blood pressure rising, but it all comes down to game 3. Scores are reset to 0. Winner moves to the grand finals.
I mean, that's the good news about Rocket League, right? Once the game is over, scores are reset back to 0. Timer set back down to 5. It's a whole new game. The question is, can you seize that control? You see Juro going in the direction of the field one, getting schmancy with it, takes it the distance, and that's the first goal of the game.
Yeah, that's a highlight reel play here. Juro 1-2. All the players need to go to urgent care.
That's just filthy. They're just breaking everyone, shattering hopes and dreams, and Buffoonery up 1-0.
Up 1-0 off of the kickoff as well. We'll get some extra pressure, and that's good. You know, not even 30 seconds gone off the clock, you already got the lead here. Team Effects, though, they've been known to come back from deficits, so we will see. We know last game they definitely came back from some deficit, but let's see if they can get any here. It's going to be another nice little touch there. Christian, though, contesting off into the corner. We'll try and grab this big chunk of boost and try and beat the defense back. It's a bump out of the air, but Tove will be the last man back and read it.
Good so far here. Gonna put that thing down into play, and Tix unfortunately doesn't win the second. Ramen keeps the things alive and drops things down for Christian. Unfortunately, no shot to be had, which means everyone rotated up. Oh, but it feels like you let open a wide open net, and unfortunately not even really getting a good shot on the goal. It feels like even though you're up, you need to make sure you're capitalizing on those type of opportunities if you're Buffoonery.
I need to make sure you're capitalizing, and Whale is gonna be swimming with another goal here.
To be fair, this kind of feels like redemption for the last one that they should have got, right? Like if they would have gone the opposite way and Effects would have been able to punch one in, it would have been tough for Buffoonery. So now here you're still up by 2, but there is plenty of time here, Llama, on the clock. 3 minutes, 40 seconds here. If you're Effects to be able to put things together, and if, you know, game number 2 is any sort of motivating factor, we know you have the ability to put goals up onto the scoreboard in bunches. I just wouldn't wait much longer, especially if Buffoonery is going to look very aggressive the way that they're looking right now.
Buffoonery, they're done with their namesake. They're done messing around here. Antics, though, is going to pull some antics and find the goal.
breaking out my luck once again. No, I really love this play here, though. I mean, you see, even from Christian, I don't know if I don't think Christian got credited for that, but you can just see how fast they're playing there, right? And I think it kind of shows the desperation that they're kind of feeling at this point. Obviously, game 3 and a best of 3, wanting to get back up into that grand final. They have been able to cut that lead in half here, and you still have some time to work with here. The question becomes, can you really get the control of the actual game within itself? Because it feels like for the most part, you're just kind of taking advantage of a few mistakes. Granted, that's all it takes sometimes.
That's very true. Just a couple of some mistakes can honestly lead to a goal sometimes. But right now, halfway into this game, so 1 goal lead up by Buffoonery is there. Been on the defense for a little bit of time as they get that clear on through. We'll try and connect mid-air, but Team FX just some good control, immediately clearing that right on back. So some good ping pong action. It's got to be Christian trying to contest up there. Antics, full boost in the tank. The players driving in as well, but clears have been really good from both sides.
And Ramen, very important, was going to need to be able to get at least a nose onto that ball at minimum, since both other players were rotated up into that Buffoonery half. And now with their defense needing to retreat back to be able to get control, we see a big demo, which creates so much room for Tuv. Wide open net. All you got to do is tap it in, and Buffoonery now going to be up by 2.
Unfortunately, Antics just had no boost, had nothing to work with, so Tuv able to find the open net there for that goal. Buffoonery tacking on yet another goal here to increase that lead to 2. Off a kickoff, they'll win it once more, but right the other way, Christian trying to add the solo play, the solo flare. Whale, though, that one is going a little bit wide. Ramen missed the touch. The rotations are off here, driving it in. Finally saved by Christian.
Yeah, I like the idea of where the mind was there. Unfortunately, the execution just not quite up to snuff here. And now you've got to be concerned because there's multiple players here, only one defender back, and that's Buffoonery just piling it up here. And now the time's going to start to be a concern for FX.
Buffoonery just layering these goals. Whale, a nice touch off of that one. And yeah, like you said, 1:30. The time is ticking down. They're going to need some goals here very soon. A goal every 30 seconds is doable. But man, the defense has looked strong. Antics is going to immediately break that defense.
I'm not going to say it. I know we're all thinking it. Regardless, though, at least for FX here, getting themselves the first goal to see if they can be able to start to surmount this comeback. 1:28. Still plenty of time as long as you can keep your composure. You do need to make sure, though, that you're being very deliberate. You need to be able to deprive the defensive Buffoonery of the boost needed to be able to get out of their zone. If you can do that, if you can just keep the attack up, make sure that you've got yourself 25 seconds left on the clock or so. When you get this next goal, you've got plenty of time, right?
You got time, and they've done it last game. We saw it. We saw them score those rapid-fire goals, but a minute left on the clock. Time slowly ticking down. Whale, the last man back, will complete a banger shot that was flying on in, but back the other way as these possessions continue to go either way. That's going to be more time off the clock for Team FX, but I don't know if they need time. Antics adds the 3rd.
And there it is. I had mentioned you wanted at least 25 seconds left on the clock. They said, you know what, we'll give you 39 seconds. And now FX here, just 1 goal away from trying to do another comeback here. FX definitely keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, they definitely do. They got the offense to show, and they're comfortable in a deficit. So what? They're down 4-1. They can score these goals. That's what's the most important right now. 25 seconds, and again, a spot in that grand final is on the line for either one of these teams. Antics, though, wants to drive it straight towards the net. We'll start off in the corner. Got a teammate in center field. Laid up, but just a little bit too low to finish that one on home. 10 seconds here. Christian, the waterfall will be denied. You're not drinking well today, but 5 seconds left off in the corner here for Antics, trying to go in. It's 2 seconds. It's no seconds. Ramen, you need to score on 0, and it won't be there. Buffoonery getting the final touch. They will move to the grand finals.
Oh, man, and it would have been such a great story with the comeback once again. However, I do got to say, I kind of like the fact that I feel bad for saying this, but I do like the fact that we're going to have 2 new teams. Well, is it 2 new teams? At least it's not the same team from the last 2
Right.
games in here the next. You know what I'm trying to say? Honestly, though,
Yeah.
great job by Buffoonery there. It felt like started to let the control kind of slip away from them there at the end, but able to clutch up when they really needed to.
Yeah, like you said, Team Effects was hogging that scream time. They it's now gonna be going to 2 teams that
Yeah.
we have seen actually play before. So in the previous matchup, Buffoonery lost 2-2. So going up to this one, they'll have a little bit longer series, but we know that Oui Oui is a really strong team, and they're gonna be walking in with a game advantage. It's gonna be a hard mountain to climb, but you've got yourself a chance there.
You've got the game advantage. You've had the fact that you've beat this team before. And just in case we happen to see Buffoonery put anything else into their bag, you've been able to sit on the sideline and maybe find that extra weakness here or two. So going to be interesting. However, I always love me a good comeback story, right? So on the side of Buffoonery, you get to go into the lower bracket, come into the grand final, play the same team who sent you to the lower bracket. Such a great story that we could potentially be seeing. So make sure y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the grand final right after this.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. I have come, it's cold and losing my control. The light is gone, the night has come, it's crazy. The night is gone, I wish that you could save me from my isolation. My mind's too complicated. I stop these conversations. Control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. No relation. We got no relation. No relation. The night has come, it's crazy. The night is gone, and it goes like, wish that you could save me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Frost Esports here with our 90th edition of our Blizzard. We got one series left. It is the grand finals to decide the champion.
All comes down to this, man. A chance at redemption if you're Buffoonery. or a chance at perfection over on the side of Oui Oui. So I'm going to be interested to see how things unfold. Obviously, a little bit longer of a series here, but you do have that 1 game lead for Oui Oui, who already beat this team once. So I feel like game number 1, very, very important.
It's going to be very important here. You know, for Buffoonery, you can tie it up, or for Oui Oui, you can build an even bigger mountain. Oui Oui been dominant all day long here, even pulling off a reverse sweep. So we'll see what they can do again. The previous matchup between the two was a 2-0. So we'll see if Buffoonery can change that.
I mean, you got to be able to try and put some pressure down here early, right? I mean, we can see able to put some pressure down within these first 20 seconds. First shot going to actually find the back of the net here, and that's going to be exactly what you wanted for Buffoonery.
Yeah, this is huge. Whale to Tub and then back to Whale. You see Tub does not give up on the play. Says, okay, so what? I'm going down. I'm going to kamikaze you right into the other player, take them out of the play, and pick up a goal for my team.
That's a big start here. I mean, that's what you need to do here from Buffoonery, knowing that on the side for Oui Oui, they do have that 1 game lead. So at least you give yourself the goal lead here to start off the first actual match of play, which is technically game 2, I guess you could call it. But you're going to be seeing here still keeping the drive alive. That's going to be Zekel. Comes in with some beautiful defense, but no clear yet on the side of Oui Oui, which means another shot just a little far to the wide of right. But I mean, Buffoonery looking really good right now.
They're looking really good, especially like you said, with that first goal advantage here. But going the other way, we know that offense can pop off at any moment. Zico will get read out of the air. So importantly, Comp going to try and follow up. All 3 players of Buffoonery, though, crowding around that ball to protect the net.
And now here at this point, you got to see on the side of Oui Oui, you know that they know a little bit about this team. Mentioned it before. They were the team who sent Buffoonery down to the lower bracket, but are they still taking themselves an extra time to maybe adjust to a different rate of play? We didn't happen to see the last time these two teams faced, but for now, it feels like Buffoonery very much in control. No shots yet from the side of Oui Oui, as another side from Juro. Tuv's going to pass things over to Whale, and that's going to be a second goal.
This was the one thing I really, really liked about them down in that lower bracket, is the teamwork from this squad. Whale and Tuv, once again on the same wavelength, here, are going to find their second goal, and it's quick goals. Yes, there's time still on the clock, but 2 goals against this Oui Oui defense is very good.
Yeah, especially at the rate that they're playing. It's not like they're not like mistake goals where it's like sloppy. It looks very coordinated. It very much looks like they're in control. The question becomes from Oui Oui, with so much time left on the clock, can you cut this lead? Because 2 goal lead gets turned into a 1-goal lead very quickly. And with this much time left, then you're not sweating at all.
100% here can be easily turned around, but right now turned around this play. Comp, we know, can be just that aerial sharpshooter here. Has had a lot of offensive touches, but right now making the defense touch. Passed it out to Snowfear, and again, we're in the grand finals here. Any mistake can be punished. 2 really high-level teams, and Juro contesting a midfield.
We're seeing the demos. They're playing aggressive. They're playing fast. They're buying additional space. That time around, they weren't able to capitalize, but it still creates that little bit of confusion, that hecticness on the side of Oui Oui. And as for now, Oui Wei's going to have to try and retreat back, as Buffoonery has been playing very aggressive, but a beautiful counterattack prior to the save from Whale.
Yeah, here we go, though. 2 minutes left. 2 goals on the board right now. Comp, a nice soft touch shot. Unfortunately, another good read here. Buffoonery, the defense, just holding strong towards all of them. Bouncing off the roof this time. Comp wants to get it the other way. Their clears have been looking a little bit better, and that's the thing. We know that their late game in each game is so good that, you know, they can score a lot. Their defense starts to lock it back in, so 2 goals might not be enough.
Yeah, I mean, we're even seeing it here, right? Like, it's almost like they've unlocked this additional, like, level of speed that they're hitting. They're playing faster. They're a little bit more in tune. They're putting more pressure down. The question becomes, can you find the back of the net? That's what's most important. You still have 70 seconds. Beautiful play over 2 players here from Comp, and that cuts the lead in half.
Yeah, it's a slow roller. It's not going to be fast. Comp is going to put it over, though. Doesn't matter. Threads the needle, and we'll find the back of the net. You know, a goal is a goal here. We talked about how we can score late, and with 1:08 left, that's a lot of time.
So much time, right? I mean, really, you talk about, especially for a team that we have seen earlier, has that potential. And even this game, even though they've only had the 3 shots, I mean, at times look like they can at least control the ball around that midfield pretty well. But as I say that, Tuv has a wide open net on the opposite side of the field, and that lead re-extended to 2.
Yeah, Comp trying to make that pass to midfield to connect to the teammate, but just gets read out absolutely beautifully by Buffoonery, adding another onto their scoreline. So add up to 3 here. We still have, again, the game advantage. If they do lose this first game, it'll still be equal for them. They'll still be on level footing, kind of putting this one into a best of 5, but still 43 seconds. We know they can score quick. Comp can intercept this one out of midfield. A good touch off the crossbar, and there you go. Solo bolo.
Oh yeah, we able to come in where you need. Comp with the beautiful shot off the crossbar the first time, even technically off the crossbar the second time, but enough to still drill that thing into the back of the net. 37 seconds, and our first game already delivering us the banger that we were expecting, Llama.
Really, really exciting. This is what you want from a grand final, you know, very closely matched right now. And going to the final 25 seconds, going to be important for Oui Oui to find just one more. They will have the opportunity to play until that buzzer hits. If they keep it within the score line, Tuv won't be able to find as the rotation's just clean enough, the communication working out good. But as this clock gets back onto single digits, as it goes through here, a goal from Buffoonery could be the absolute dagger. But for Oui Oui right now, off of their back line, going into the corner, some extra touches there by Buffoonery. Snove trying to keep it up. There you go, Comp, keeping it up. The aerial plays right now. Tuv will bounce it off the roof. Somehow it is still up and going off of the backboard down. And Buffoonery will take what is technically game number 2 here, tying up the series.
Yeah, I think it's almost like it's like taking away that home court advantage, right? Now you're starting a best of 5 in the grand final. You're no longer playing from behind, and to be able to come out here with 11 shots on goal for Buffoonery, really dictating the tone. Because Comp was the only player for Oui Oui to be able to record a shot. Your defense stifling, your offense really off to a great start.
They're looking really, really good all around the board. Oui Oui, though, that's what they, you know, won that other series for. They got the game advantage. It'll be equalized. They'll be going to what is technically, again, what I was talking about, the best of 5, where you still need to win 3 games on either side. And for Oui Oui, the important thing was they kept it close, right? They didn't let them run away with all those goals. It really does seem like all throughout the tournament today that they're keeping it close no matter what happens. So we'll see if they can bounce back going into what will be technically game number 3 here, and see if maybe they can find some more goals towards their way.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see how these first like 90 to 120 seconds kind of play out, right? Because yeah, you had game 1 technically, but of the game that's actually been played, Buffoonery feels very much in control. So if they come out here in these first 90 seconds and kind of duplicate what we just saw over the course of that last game, they're gonna need to find some sort of turnaround over on the side of Oui Oui.
100% here right off the start, though. Some good offense. Oui Oui, again, we talk about they're kind of a second half team. You know, they really like to get a lot of their shots, a lot of their goals in the second half. So if they can get one, we saw in the previous series where if they can get one to start off the game, if they can get one in the first minute, 2 minutes, and get a lead, they play so well.
Now the question becomes, can you get that lead, right? When question is, how quick can you get it? Because if you're waiting until later into the game, you start to have some of that doubt creep in. It's going to be a bump in the front, in the front of the net to make sure that Tuv doesn't have control of things, but they're not going to be able to get the clear on the side of Oui Oui, and it's kind of starting to feel a little bit more like that last game that we just saw, Llama. Maybe not quite as much control from Buffoonery, but they do slowly seem to start to be moving their way in that direction.
Some extra offensive pressure starting off early from Buffoonery is exactly what you want. But again, we talk about you're going to have to build up a goal wall here because they have those tools that at any point they can strike. But Tuv right now trying to send it towards the corner. No Other player is going to be there to find the help, but Comp, another good defensive touch. Comp been really good all day on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying watching what Comp has been bringing to the table. Unfortunately, I'm looking right now to the other two players as Buffoonery is going to be able to take the lead in around 90 seconds here in game number 3. And I am looking at Snowf and Zekel right now because last game, I don't think when the clock rolled to 0, I don't think either team or either player, I should say, on that team had registered a shot. And thus far in game number 3, same story.
Same story, different game here. Buffoonery once again an early lead with 3 minutes still on the clock. We know they have that ability to score, but right now Buffoonery, they're happy with another lead. How can you not be happy with some extra goals in your pocket? But for right now, Tub, Whale stealing out that mid boost here and looking for a shot. The angle a little bit awkward, which means it goes the other way. But onto the defense here for Comp. Can't get there quick enough. Neither can the teammates, but intercepting these passes at midfield going to be ever important, playing that full court press.
Man, here now you hope to start to find something in the matter of Oui Oui, man. They've only gotten themselves one shot. It's the one sole shot that came from Comp earlier. Here's Snowf. I was hoping to maybe try and see, might be able to make a play at the midfield, but that's not going to be the case. The defense from Buffoonery stepping up just as much as the offense, and if they can continue this dominance for another 2 minutes, even if it is only 1-0, Llama, it would feel so good heading into game number 4.
Yeah, it really would, because, that game advantage is already out and away. So if you can take yet another game here, if you can get, extra pressure and even holding them to 0, I know that's a crazy thing because there's still 2 minutes left, but if you could hold this really potent offense to nothing, that would feel good. But Snowf, of course, as soon as I say it, we'll pick up the pass.
If there's anyone that's going to score the equalizer here, it would definitely be Comp. Nice pass here as well. Good spacing over on the side of Oui Oui. And yes, that does look beautiful. That's going to be a goal. Ties things up 1 apiece here. And we've got about 1 minute and 50 seconds left.
1:50 to play here, all tied back up. Juro, though, going to look for another aerial play. Won't find it. Snowf wants to go the other way with only one defender back. This could be dangerous going off of the roof. Snowf looking for the second touch. Won't find it. It is Juro to hold that close angle on the goal. Now going the other way with the counter attack, but some midfield presence from Oui Oui will stop them.
Saw the ball was kind of dangerously brought across the goal line, albeit relatively in control, but and what ends up happening, Snowf switches the control, steals the ball in the corner, although it's on the opposite side of the ball of the field from where they were originally from. But you gotta go, north and south, man. This east and west coast stuff, when you're back on your half, the pitch ain't working.
It is not. We find a second dangerous team here in the back half. Whale, though, wants to try and change that. Some early offense off the kickoff for Buffoonery, trying to find their footing in one of these later games. And, we talked about it. It could be huge for Buffoonery to take this game, but even better for Oui Oui, to regain, get back on your feet here, get the feel of getting that win. But with 1 minute remaining, it's still only a 1-goal lead. Combo almost make them eat my words.
Yeah, I do gotta say, though, it feels like the tides are slowly starting to turn, Llama. It's starting to feel like Oui Oui starting to get a little bit more of that control. Not just because they're up on the scoreboard here 2-1, which albeit from a really lucky break, but even just the amount of time that we spent over here, now Comp's going to be able to extend the lead now to 2, and Oui Oui looking good.
Yeah, they're looking really good. I was going to say the tides are coming in and, taking down your sandcastle, but I guess Comp is just, stomping on anybody's sandcastle that's trying to be built. Buffoonery not able to have their fun here. Oui Oui, 3 goals now, 2-goal lead and 30 seconds left.
And now this is tough here because you've already got Comp in control, getting filthy with it. I thought Zekel was going to be able to follow up with a beautiful shot, but to no avail. However, you're keeping the ball away. You're keeping the ball down on this half of the pitch. And as much as it's had felt like Buffoonery was in control in game number 2, you've really been able to come out and flip the script here in game 3. It feels like you are the team that knocked this buffoonery squad down into the lower bracket originally, and it's going to be up to buffoonery to try and figure out some sort of solution in between games.
That bounced to the ground, another dangerous shot. But yeah, like you said, it's time for adaptation. That's what we talk about in this best of 7. You know, you've been playing best of 5s, you've been playing best of 3s all day, but now it's towards a longer series where you need to have consistency. Still one goal from buffoonery, but like you said, they have to get more. I mean, they can score, and they've been known to rack up scores right at the end of games. And you know, they already have a reverse sweep in their pocket. We know they can come back from things. So to get that game advantage back in their court, looking even scarier.
Yeah, I think also too, if I remember right, sitting about halfway through the game, buffoonery already had, I think it was like 4 or 5 of what ended up being their 7 total shots, right? So when you talk about the tides really turning in the back half of that game in favor of Oui Oui, so to the point where now we're getting ready for, game number 4, and as you had mentioned, you have been able to regain that 1-game lead. I hate to keep going back to the same point, but these first 90 seconds in this next game going to be very crucial. This time, though, over on the side of buffoonery.
And they're going to need to get some early goals. I think, again, it's going to be deadly. If we can find one of those early ones, one of those mistakes that they can maybe catch out, it's going to be hard to recover, but we'll see. The team's got to show us here. No team able to win the series yet after this game, but one team could get themselves on series points.
And away we get down to it here. And I mean, it feels like if you're on the side of buffoonery, you need to be able to strike hard. You need to be able to strike fast and strike early here. You don't want to be able to play any games, because it did feel like we started to figure things out towards the back end of game number 3. That's going to be a nice shot, but Whale with a beautiful save here for buffoonery.
A beautiful save already, and that is important. We talked about Oui Oui. They got those deadly weapons all around. Zico looking for the touch. It's going to go to the crossbar. Beats the players. The second touch is going to keep it on in. Comp looking for something here in the corner. Got about half boost to work with, but won't beat out Juro, who will beat 2. But these contests at midfield are keeping the ball in.
Yeah, I thought for a second Oui Oui was going to be able to win that little bit of a tug of war there. It looked like their positioning was going to be just a little bit better, but regardless, you can see they have moved back down into that offensive zone, which of course keeps buffoonery off the scoreboard, which starts to put a little bit of that doubt into the back of their minds. Juro, though, going to get themselves a shot. Comp with a beautiful save here to be able to keep things still knotted up at zeros.
Down the back of their mind, and you talk about doubt. We talked about you need to get some early goals for buffoonery starting it out this offense, but we will see still a 0-0 scoreline. That's the most important thing for them right now. Juro gonna try and set something up here across this side wall. Comp gonna be looking upwards to try and defend this one, but again, beautiful defensive plays right now from Oui Oui. They are contesting everything. It is grand finals. Do not let your opponents have anything for free.
Now here, Juro over 2, but the third being Zico made sure that they got connection to unfortunately not get the full clear, but at least prevent the attack that would have inevitably found the back of the net. Now Comp going to be going the other way for Oui Oui. Whale comes in with the save, and that's going to send things back to midfield here. And man, it really looks like both teams, as far as on the defensive side, really locking in here, Llama.
They're locking in. They're ready to go here, and that is huge. You know, the defense is one of the most important aspects of it. Comp almost shattering that defense. The teammates will try to follow up, but some good communication. That's the most important thing for buffoonery. Yes, one shot may, go near. As long as you have the communication between the 3 players, you're able to fend that off, and I love this. The defense, as soon as that comes in, just trying to give them no opportunities.
And and then we're going to be seeing Snowf creates a little bit of space, I think, down here, right? There's going to be another one here as well from Snowf. Unfortunately, though, Juro's still there to be able to avoid the bodies, to be able to get just enough on it, to be able to turn the tides. No clear, though, as you can see, Ezekiel actually sends that to the corner. Tuv rises to the sky, but they are not able to maintain the control. It's actually going to be Ezekiel who gets the touch. Save from Juro here going into the corner. Can you get the clear with 0 boost is the question.
Piling on the offense. The potatoes coming out here, and they are looking hot right now for Oui Oui. A demo, and that one is just going to sail right into the goal.
Did they get double demo or is it one demo, one bump? Regardless.
Yeah, one demo, one bump.
Oh, that was such a beautiful play to be able to clear the path there. And yes, it is going to be Oui Oui up 1-0.
Yeah, it's the story that we've seen all series long, all tournament long here for Oui Oui. Scored goals late, a minute 30 still left on the clock. That's the good news. Buffoonery, though, can they find the offense to try and come back in this game and in this series? Right now, it's going to be just a little town meeting between all couple players there on the defensive front of Buffoonery. Snope, a good, again, touch at the sidewall to keep this one in, but Whale is going aerial. A touch from Comp might save that goal and just will.
Keeping things alive here, you can see Tuv still wanting to be aggressive in the offensive zone. Whale gets a touch as far as on that 50-50, but not really getting much progression as far as on the ball. They're not getting the clear, though, over on that Oui Oui side. At least not until now. Gets a shot on the goal from Snow. Juro, once again, standing tall. You got to start doing more than playing defense, though. If you can get this touch over from Tuv, you might have an opening from Juro with that touch at the Whale, and that's a beautiful save from Comp.
A beautiful save going to add onto the board here, but only 37 seconds left. It is only a 1-goal lead, but man, it just seems like Oui Oui, they have so much control. 30 seconds left. Juro will find it, though.
Beautiful team play here. Tuv gets enough as far as the disruption. Leaves it off for Juro. Tuv also gets the bump to clear the way. And now we're all tied up here as we head in to our last 30 seconds here of game number 4.
Last 30 seconds. Could not have asked for a better grand finals between these two grand finals winning team. Well, the Demos assist in the goal.
Wow. That's... And then Tuv again leading the way. This time actually getting the demo instead of just a bump. And with 18 seconds left, Buffoonery looking to make what originally started as a best of 7 with a 1-game advantage over on the side of Oui Oui and turning this thing essentially into a best of 3. However, one last attempt here with the clock expired.
This is Frost. Right here, Zekel, 0 seconds left, man. Ties it up. Oh, Q, we're not done with this game yet. We're going to OT.
Hey, man, we're getting frosty here in overtime for game number 4. Wouldn't have it any other way. The back and forth as the pendulum swings, and the question becomes, with this overtime, how much momentum can you build off of it?
Almost playing up a shot there, but the defense from Buffoonery says, nah, that's not in. We'll make sure of it, but the rotations are good right now. Snow wants to add to it here, off into the corner. We'll try and find the teammates. Comp looking for the shot. We'll keep it in the corner, stalling enough where they can steal out the big 100 booster. You see the boosters are low other than Tuv, who will use it. Juro trying to drive it to the net. The final man back. Comp playing good on defense.
Man, and that's going to get left in front. Nice job by Juro to get the second touch to be able to get the clear. Snow gets one demo, which might be able to buy a little bit of space. As you can see, they're going to go ahead and re-enter into the offensive zone. It's still kind of floating around in front of the net. Zof drops it off for Zekel. Unfortunately, going to be a tad bit wide. If Whale can make a play here, get a little shifty with it, might be able to make a play in the open field, but instead it's left off for Tuv, who misses the shot.
Yeah, missed the shot, unable to connect on that one, but look at Zekel up in the air. Whale, good to read that out, though, trying to connect back to midfield where the teammates are. Minute 30 already in this extra time. Tuv and Whale have connected before. We've seen their teamwork in that lower bracket finals, but they're going to have to show it here in this overtime. Tuv looking for it. The contests are good, though, from Oui Oui.
The longer that this goes, Llama, it feels like it starts to become more of a must-win for Buffoonery, because the longer that this goes, if Oui Oui happens to pull this off in the, let's say, 3rd, 4th, 5th minute of overtime, that means we've played a whole nother game, and now Oui Oui will be on the doorstep of being able to take home our grand final here for our Monday Night Frost, for our 90th edition, and that would be such a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it really would be, but we'll see. 2 minutes on this extra time. Buffoonery still a chance if they score this goal. Could be tying up the series tough. A nice touch. It's going to be off of
Oh!
all of the woodwork, but not going in. That's the most important thing. They play just good enough defense, and here comes the cavalry. Here comes the counter attack. It's going to be off of this corner, but read out by Buffoonery. They'll be able to stop that offense for now. What can their offense do?
I'm pretty sure that went off both crossbars. It's one that you will definitely want to have back. Nice shot on the goal here from Comp as they start to push into the Buffoonery territory. It's left in front of the goal. Good job by Tub to get the clear here coming from across. Actually maintaining the control as it comes off the corner. Gets enough of it, though, to prevent the... Snoof, you're disgusting. With 3 minutes.
No. Man, oh, he just steals it. Snoof just says, that's my ball. That's
That's
yours.
that's the heartbreaker that I was talking about, Llama. We're 3 minutes into overtime, and one mistake like that, and now we is on set point here in the grand final. I mean, one shot is all it takes.
And look at shots. That's the biggest
Yeah.
category for me. I mean, yes, the game was only won by 1 goal, but man, did they rack up a total of 19 shots on the board, 3 goals. Not a great efficiency, but the opportunities were very much there.
And you feel like if you are Buffoonery, you gotta find a way to put the clamps down, because right now, when you look at those shots that you just mentioned, it's not like it's just one player, right? You can't find one person and try and hone in with a couple of demos and try and disrupt the offense. On the side of Oui Oui, it really feels like a solid 3.
It does. They're working well together. Buffoonery, though, they've shown us things in the past where their teamwork. I'm specifically looking at Tub and Whale, this duo that we saw really pop off in that lower finals. But now you're kind of in the scenario that he was in, last series. You got to win every game from here on out. It's not a full reverse sweep. You did pick up that other game already. And I think, again, you just got to play it one game at a time here for Buffoonery. But I think they need to find some early goals. I mean, Oui Oui, they score late, they score often. We'll see if they can do it again going into what is going to be game number 5.
Yeah, it definitely feels like by the time we hit halftime, that Buffoonery has to have a lead, right? Because Oui Oui definitely seems to find some solutions in the back half of the games. And if you're Buffoonery, you'd like to hit heavy and you'd like to hit often. Second touch there, unfortunately, not going to be able to really get you much of anything.
Of anything just yet here, but again, we on that series point here, tournament point. If they can win one, they can take home that trophy. We know this team very good, shows up in Frost very often, with some of the other teams missing tonight have had a nice road towards this spot. But can they get the early offense going? The question is already answered. Yes, already getting some shots on there.
Now the question becomes, can you get the full clear here on the side of Buffoonery? Because you kind of been flirting around down in your defensive zone. And we know that Buffoonery needs to be able to hit heavy, needs to be able to get out of their defensive side. It's hard to score from that side of the pitch. And if you allow Oui Oui to dictate the tone early, it's not looking good for you once we get down into those final 2 minutes. You got to find something here now, Llama.
You gotta find something here, but neither team able to do it just yet. I'd love to see Buffoonery as well, step up that offense, rack up those opportunities. We talk about, shots don't ultimately decide it, but Juro almost being the judge, jury, executioner, unfortunately unable to make that decision themselves. 3 minutes 30 left on the clock. Oui Oui, another clear.
And right now here, it feels like on the side of Oui Oui, you're okay with only having 1 shot on the goal, because inevitably you're going to be able to find the solution. Snoof makes a play. Juro with the beautiful save in their own right, but no clear, which allows for the side of Oui Oui to still make a play. A second touch off the back wall. No one going to be able to follow that up, though. Luckily, though, on the side of Oui Oui, still hold firm at that midfield line. So as far as the reverse and that counterattack, you don't really have much on your side.
don't have much, but approaching the halfway marker, this is where we talk about the tides really turn, you know, but Oui Oui, they really start to light up their shots. They really start to get the teamwork playing. So we'll see if they can. It's going to be a shot off of the post there from Kong.
Now here, as you can see, 2.5 minutes has gone by, which means we got 2.5 minutes left. You and I have talked about it a couple of times here now, Llama. The later that this game goes, the buffoonery side of the pitch is going to start feeling more pressure. Oui Oui has given themselves the advantage of a few games. You need to find a solution here soon. This might be it from Tub, and bang, there's the first one.
Yeah, Tub able to get some offense. This is some good showing, I feel like, from Buffoonery. And, you know, Tub just able to slam it home. That one looking like the bounce was going to maybe carry it, but why not get that confirming touch? And that first goal feels so good.
It's got to feel so good to be able to take the top off of the goal and just to be able to say, hey, you know what, we strike first, but you got to feel like they're not comfortable with just the one, not with the fact that their backs are up against the wall. You got to find the back of the goal at least one more time, or at minimum, make sure that you're putting enough pressure down that there aren't very many quality shots coming from the side of Oui Oui. And for now, kind of doing that, but it's only with a couple of bumps, nothing to really start to really put the pressure on, kind of like they're starting to do now.
Pressure is definitely flowing here. Oui Oui, though, again, game advantage is definitely still in their court, so the confidence is probably pretty high at this point, and they're good at scoring, so one goal just might not be enough, Q. We'll see if they can hold it, but going back on the offense, it's going to be Whale. Tub looking for these aerial plays. Whale will find the pass, but the defense just too strong.
Yeah, Juro keeps the ball still alive over on this side of the pitch, but it's only for a brief little bit of time. As you can see, Oui Oui starting to play a little bit more aggressive, doing a little bit better job of being able to control some of the boost over on their side of the pitch. The question is, can they make that a quick adjustment and flip the script? Because time starting to be of the essence for them. They're only about 45 seconds left if they want to tie things up.
45 seconds to go here, and some extra offense coming through from, you know, the Buffoonery side. That's the important thing, is they're not giving up on plays. They don't want to say, we're just going to rest on our laurels here. One goal is enough. No, they're continuing to push out, but we is pushing as well. 30 seconds left.
I like to see on the side of Buffoonery, they continue to play aggressive even with the lead. They're not playing content, right? Sometimes we see teams where once they get the lead in a must-win situation, they stop playing their game. They still seem to be playing with that same game plan, but the problem is Snowfall. I was going to say, it leaves things in front of the net, and it is.
Oh.
It's still that Zekel going to be able to find the equalizer with just 3 seconds left.
I don't know if Ezekiel IRL is wearing a cape, but has been a hero of so many of these games, scoring the late goal here. And 3 seconds left. I mean, that'll be the 0-second Buffoonery plays, but if neither team can score this one, we're going to OT. Oh, man.
And now with OT, golden goal. One shot is all it takes. And it feels like when we're in that sort of situation, with the way that the games have been kind of breaking down here in our grand final, it does seem to favor Oui Oui. But of course, with it being overtime, golden goal, you only need one if you're Buffoonery.
Only need one, but for Oui Oui, if that goal is for them, they'll be taking the entire series, the entirety of the tournament, the bigger share of that prize pool. Let's see them do it. Would love to see Buffoonery. I'd love to see more games between these two teams that deserve their spot here in this grand finals, but it'll come down to one goal who will win this game right here.
These overtime situations, you just start to get so tense, and you can only imagine the tensity, was that a word? How tense they're feeling over on the side of Buffoonery, man. Your backs are up against the wall. Golden goal opportunity here, and it hasn't felt like much has really been working for you. It feels like Oui Oui starting to kind of dissect things, starting to pull back the layers just a little bit. More shots on goal on their side, starting to feel like they've got more control, and now they're pushing into your defensive zone. You need a big clear here if you're Buffoonery.
And need to get this one out here because Comp and company, they're going to set on up. Comp loving to make these aerial plays. We'll have to get that rotation back on defense. But Juro meeting this one right at midfield, trying to set up a beautiful waterfall. But Oui Oui is having none of that. Not allowing that even drop to the ground here, continuing their offense. Eagle with a large ton of boost. Eagle, the flip reset. Will get denied out. Good read. Snowf, though, wants to follow it up. Could be the 3-team play here as Comp is still there. Zico trying to get this touch off on the corner. Looking for the pass. It's the play. Comp has their number, and it's 9-1-1. Call a doctor.
Yeah, as soon as that demo came in, that was off screen from here, and you knew that they were going to be able to send 3 bodies at the net. The story was already written there, and yes, it was exactly how we figured it would be, and that's with Oui Oui coming out on top in our grand finals.
Such a good team, man, and who other to do it than Comp? Come on, has been so effective on the offense all day long, but really a team win, I gotta say. The team working well all together, the communication seemed on point, and their defense as well. At times, they really stepped up. They owned the back halves of games, and they'll take the championship because of it.
And you can see here as we look at the bracket, I mean, we able to do a nice little run through the upper bracket. I do gotta say though, I want to give a big shout out to Buffoonery, man. They got sent to the lower bracket by Oui Oui, fought their way back through, and then really put on a show. It looked like they were getting ready to force at least an additional game, maybe 2.
It did seem that way. Congrats to Effects as well, taking that 3rd place, although they don't get any prize money. They'll take the bronze medal, and I hope they come back next week. That's what I hope for all these teams. It's 1 week. Come back for the 91st edition. Come back and play for this. And speaking of that, maybe you guys out in chat, maybe you guys think you're better than all these players, or maybe you're just the best 1v1 player of all time. Make sure to join the Frost Discord, because not only do we have these Rocket League events every Monday night, we got Valorant on Thursdays, and this week we're going to have a 1v1 tournament on Friday for $50 cash money. Winner takes all. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh, always something going on. Always something as far as some gaming, a way to stay frosty during the week, get a little bit of competitive fix going on as well. I love it.
It's super awesome, but unfortunately, that's pretty much gonna bring us to the end. No more matches on the day. We had such an exciting tournament overall. I'm sad it's ending. Reverse sweep, a lot of games going the full distance, but nonetheless, we do have some big thank yous to throw out before we end off the stream, guys. First and foremost, thank you to Q and myself for being here. We got our Twitters down below if you want to go throw a follow there for us. Also, our production man behind the scenes, pressing the buttons, making the best view possible, and the frosty ball that he made for not only today, but for the rest of the competitions. Nick, he does graphics, he does production, as you've seen today. Also, all of the admins, of course, that have been working with the bracket and helping out as well.
Yeah, I always say, Llama, we get the easy job. We get to show up, we get to yell about esports. It's the fun part. They're doing all the hard work in the back end, especially you mentioned all the magic that Nick does on the board. So make sure when you see him around within the community, you give him a big old high five, because, staying up late, especially I know for Nick, like across the pond, it's like late. So speaking of it being late, man, if it's your first time through, make sure you hit the follow button, turn those notifications so we can catch y'all back. Until we do catch y'all back for for our next competition, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. That's Llama. I'm Q. From the rest of the crew, from the front to the back, stay frosty, y'all. Peace.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. I have come, it's cold and losing my control. It's crazy. You could save me.